A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to bunco detail. A team of confidence men are taking thousands of dollars from the people of your city. Their method of operation? Posing as solicitors for different charitable causes. There's no lead to their whereabouts. Your job? Stop them. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 16th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of bunco detail. My partner's Bill Lockwood. The boss is Captain Steve. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 2:18 p.m. when we got to First and Valencia, the West Valley Hotel. Over here to the left, Joe. No. Excuse me?
Oh, sorry, we're all filled up. No more room.
No, we don't want to register. We're a police officer. I'd like to check one of your guests.
You have a Raymond Seidel registered? Seidell.
Let's see. No, there's no Raymond Seidel registered.
Small man, about 5'6", 130 pounds, tan complexion, between 35 and 40, wears orange glasses.
Well, I don't know. What's the trouble anyway?
Anyone like that registered here?
Well, I was just about to say there's no Raymond Seidel. We got a Raymond Singer, though. A small fella. He wears glasses.
Yeah.
I'd say he was about 35 or 40.
He in his room now?
No, matter of fact, he just left a minute ago. He went out for lunch, I think, just before you fellas walked in.
Where's he usually eat, you know?
Our coffee shop right next door. He's got a gray top coat on, gray hat.
Okay, thanks.
You can use that door right here. It connects to the coffee
Right,
shop.
thank you.
Spotted?
Yeah, far end of the counter up to the front door, see him?
Yeah, description checks out.
All right, come on.
Spotted us going for the front door.
All right, police officers, hold it up there.
Make no run for
All right, come on. This way.
Where'd he go, Isla?
Alley up ahead. He ducked in there.
Down the ramp, Joe. Hotel garage. Ran in there.
All right, come on, let's hurry. You spot him, Bill?
No. Any other way out beside this ramp?
Wait a minute. Yeah, down the far end there, another exit. I'll take that. You cover this end.
Right.
Hey, watch it, Bill. He's coming out. The blue sedan.
All right, hold it. Look out, Joe. Coming at us.
I'll go for his tire. All right, come on, Bill.
All right, stay where you are.
All right, don't shoot, don't shoot!
All right, then hold it right there.
What's this, anyway? Wasn't doing anything.
Hands behind you.
Raymond Seidel, is that right?
That's right. I wasn't doing anything. What's this all about?
You know as well as we do.
Look what you did in my car. Just look at it.
You cracked it up, mister. We didn't.
Come on.
Come on, where? I haven't done anything.
We want to talk to you downtown.
I'm not saying anything. You can talk to my lawyer. Get the story from him.
We already got it. Come on, let's go. 2:35 p.m. We took the suspect, Raymond Seidel, back to the hotel with us, where we checked his room thoroughly. Bill got on the phone, made arrangements to have Seidel's car impounded, and a stakeout placed at the hotel. Then we drove back to the city hall and took the suspect to the interrogation room. A check through our Records and Identification Bureau earlier in the day had revealed a fair-sized record for Seidel. He'd had 4 previous local arrests, 2 for petty theft, 1 for second-degree burglary, 1 for grand theft auto. He'd been convicted on one of the petty thefts and also on the burglary charge, for which he'd served time in the state penitentiary at San Quentin. Bill and I started questioning him. The first half hour, we got nowhere.
I told you I haven't been doing anything. I've been clean ever since I got out.
Where were you last night, Ray?
Knocking around town.
What'd you do?
Had a couple of drinks, went to a show, came out and went to see some bimbo I know.
What's your name?
Helen lives up on South Custer, and you can ask her. She'll tell you I was there.
What time did you see her?
About 10 o'clock? Yeah, just about.
You're a liar, Ray. You're a liar.
What gives you a call to say that? It's the truth.
And 4 other people must be lying.
Well, what do you mean, what other people?
You know what I mean. Now, how about it, Ray?
I don't know what you mean, so help me. I don't.
Why don't you give it up, Seidel? You ought to know better. We wouldn't have you down here if we didn't have you pegged.
Pegged for what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, then, I'll tell you, Ray. About 8:30 last night, you put in a call to a Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Keyes. They live out in East Hollywood, Gladstone, 3962. Mrs. Keyes answered the phone. You told her you were taking contributions for European children, war orphans. You knew she was interested in the cause. You asked her for a donation.
You're crazy. That wasn't me. I don't even know the
You
woman.
done Mrs. Keyes, and she agreed to contribute. She offered $50. You talked her up to $150. She asked you where to send the money, and you said, never mind, you'd be out to collect it. 45 minutes later, you were out there. You parked your car by a candy store down the street from the Keyes home. You walked up the block to the Keyes place, collected the money, and you left.
Now, you prove it was me. You prove
We got it cold, Seidel. Mrs. Keyes' husband got suspicious about the setup. 45 minutes after you phoned, you were at the front door with your hand out. You had no credentials, nothing. He noticed you parked your car down the street instead of in front of the house. You got the license number of your car when you pulled away. So the owner of the candy store. You parked your car just outside his place. All 3 of them can describe you and your car. Mr. Keyes, Mrs. Keyes, the man at the candy store.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting over to you, Ray?
Gonna take more than a couple of people to build a case.
All right, we got more. You gave Mrs. Keyes a signed receipt for the $150. You signed it Tom Seidel. Our handwriting man checked the signature with a specimen of your handwriting we got from your package. Now, they both checked, not a doubt in the world. What do you say?
I don't know. What would you say?
Your jam. What's the story?
Listen, anyway, why should I dig my grave?
Any way you want it. You're going to stay on the load for the last 2 months, including the one you pulled last night. It makes 14 cases.
It's a lie. It's a lousy lie.
Cigarette, Ray?
What are you trying to do to me anyway? 14 jobs and never hustled that hard in my life.
That's how many we've had in the last couple of months.
Why load them on me?
Every one of them follow the same general M.O. Same way you worked it last night. We don't know where you got your list of names, but you contact people who are interested in different charities. You pose as an authorized solicitor. You get their money and then you take off. The last 2 months you've been collecting for more than 10 different drives. European Orphans, the Milk Fund, Summer Camp for Underprivileged Kids, Crippled Children's Fund. The people give their money in good faith and you take off with it.
Look,
Your M.O. follows all the way through. It's a sour racket, Ray. We're going to lean hard on you.
I said, will you wait a minute? No, when I'm done, I'll give you the story.
Yeah?
I'm not taking the whole load on my back. I'll cop out to the one last night, but that's all.
You look good for all of them.
Look, will you give me a chance? The one last night was the first try for me. It's the only one I ever tried. I'm squaring with you. I was crazy even to make a pass at it. I should have known better. I'm not a punk man.
We already told you, Ray. Last night's a close match with the other job. You say you'll cop out to one. How do we account for the other 13?
Just among us, whatever I say, I don't want credit for.
All right. What's the pitch?
Can I have that cigarette now?
Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's a match.
I got out into things Sunday night. Doing a little drinking at this place on Boyle Avenue. There were a couple of guys at the bar who were talking about it. I didn't know them.
Talking about what?
The racket. Getting a list of marks and collecting charity money from them. These 2 guys weren't working it. They just heard it was going on. They were yakking to the bartender about it. They figured some out-of-town grifters were doing it.
And you figured you'd get in on the bandwagon, is that it?
Well, I thought I'd try a couple of jobs, that's all. Need a few bucks to tide me over. Didn't look like much of a risk.
How do you mean?
Well, I heard about the M.O. the grifters were using. Pretty simple a copy. I followed it through just the way I heard they did it. They had a half dozen jobs under their belt already. If you knocked them over and they had to stand the rap, a couple of jobs of mine wouldn't make any difference.
Free ride, is that what you figured out?
Well, what's the difference? I didn't get it. Figured you'd catch up with them and they'd take the rap for my jobs along with their own. And just my luck. You get me instead, and now I'm up to stand the rap for everything.
Now, it's a pretty fair story, Ray. Any way of proving it?
Sure, easy. These grifters started working here 2 months ago, didn't they? They hit pretty hard the first week or so, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even in town then. Wasn't here the whole month. I was up in Monterey.
Any way of proving that?
Sure, ask the sheriff up there.
Huh?
Ask the sheriff. He'll tell you.
Why should he know anything about it?
He ought to. He had me in jail the whole month.
3:40 p.m. While Bill continued questioning the suspect, Raymond Seidel, I went down the hall to the squad room and put in a call to the Monterey County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed Seidel's story. He'd been arrested in the town of Monterey December 13th, approximately 2 months before, on charges of vagrancy and suspicion of robbery. He was confined in the county jail there from December 13th to January 15th, the same period of time during which the unidentified bunco men had started their campaign of falsely soliciting funds for various charities. While the information cleared Seidel of any part in the bunco charity operations throughout the city that month, he still had to answer for his actions the night before, soliciting contributions falsely from the couple out in East Hollywood, Mr. and Mrs. Keyes. After his statement was taken, Bill Lockwood and I drove Seidel to the main jail, where we booked him in on suspicion of 48 PC petty theft. Further investigation the next day and a half seemed to indicate that the last story we got from Seidel was pretty close to the facts. It was the case of a small-time thief imitating the apparently successful formula of a veteran team of bunco artists, an imitation which in the criminal world is far from unusual. A week passed. Despite the broadcasts, the bulletins, and the special notices we'd gotten out on the suspects and their operations, there were 3 more cases reported. One of them came from a Mrs. Teresa Guilfoyle, the woman in charge of the crippled children's home. Bill and I drove out to talk to her.
This is the first thing I want to show you, officers.
What's that?
This way, please.
Go ahead, Bill. Yes, ma'am?
Dear sweetheart, there are 2 gentlemen here I'd like to have you meet. Stephen, this is Sergeant Friday, and this is Officer Lockwood, their policeman. This is Stephen, officer. He's 3 years old.
Well, how are you, Stephen?
Hello, son.
He'd like to say hello, officers, but he can't. His legs aren't his only trouble. He can't hear. He can't talk either.
Oh, too bad.
You're learning, though, aren't you, sweetheart? You bet you are. In a little while with us, and you'll be talking a blue streak. All right, honey. You run along and play now. Real sweetheart, isn't he? I wanted you to meet him, so you'd see what this means to us. When I look at children like that, this whole mess just makes my blood boil.
Yes, ma'am. We'll see what you mean.
It's hard enough getting people to contribute money to get this place open, help those poor kids to walk and talk. Thieves have to make it even harder. The way things are, I can't see how we're going to get through the year.
Oh, how much do you estimate it's cost you, Mr. Guilfoyle? I mean, how much in donations have these phony solicitors taken?
Well, I know of at least $700 they collected from different people. Lord knows how much more money they got that was supposed to go to the home. I suppose a lot of people still think they gave their money to the right person.
Well, did you receive the notice we sent out about 6 weeks ago, ma'am, about how these thieves operated?
Yes, I did. I made a special note of it. When we sent out our annual appeal letter to our regular donors, most of your notice was incorporated right in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I guess they didn't pay any attention to it.
When did you first find out something was wrong, man?
It was yesterday morning. One of our regular donors, Mr. Baxter, called me. He wanted to know if we received his contribution all right. He wondered because he didn't receive his regular thank you note. That's when he told me about this man who came to his house and collected the money.
I see.
As soon as I heard that, 2 of the other girls and myself got on the phone and called every one of the regular donors. There were 10 of them, just like Mr. Baxter. Gave their good money to help these tots, and we never received a penny of it. I've got all their names and addresses here if you'd like them.
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome to them if you want them.
Yes, that'd be fine. We'd like to check with each one of them. Now, this is the complete list, all the regular donors who contributed and their money wasn't received. Is that right?
Well, yes, sir, all those we know of. There's probably a lot more, I suppose. You've been in police work for a few years, haven't you, Sergeant? You must have met all kinds.
Yes, ma'am, I suppose so.
What kind would you say these men are? I mean, going around and stealing the little regular income we have from donations. What kind of persons can they be?
Well, there's thousands of them, Miss Guilfoyle. They walk every city in the world. They want money. They want everything that goes with it. They'll do anything but work for it.
But the money these men are stealing, they must know it's for these crippled children to help them walk again, help them talk, little kids like Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
And these men call themselves human beings. And they take help away from a child like that. Humans. I couldn't be more ashamed of them. Ashamed to live in the same city with them.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd think God would punish them. You'd think God would come down and punish them right now.
Well, maybe he's even ashamed. Before Before we left, Mrs. Guilfoyle gave us a complete list of the names and addresses of donors who contributed annually to the upkeep of the crippled children's home. For the next couple of days, Bill and I contacted each one of them personally. Those people who'd already given their contributions to the thieves unknowingly were unable to help us. Their descriptions of the men who solicited money from them in the name of the crippled children's home generally duplicated the descriptions we'd gotten from the previous victims. None of them were very detailed, but they did seem to confirm our theory that there were 2 or more men involved in the bunco operation. Receipts for the money they'd given the thieves were signed either by a Fred Wellman or a Norman Archer. The handwriting varied in each case. Those donors on the list who had not yet been contacted were the best hope we had of reaching a suspect. Since the crippled children's home appealed for funds only through the mail, we advised these people to get in touch with us immediately if anyone contacted them by phone and asked for contributions. A few more days passed. Monday, February 27th. We got a call back from one of these donors, a Mr. George Stage of the Consolidated Pool Company out in the valley. We located him supervising work at the site of one of their pool constructions in the Toluca Lake area.
Oh, yeah, glad to see you again, Sergeant. Say, could you hold on just a minute? I want to test that batch of mud and see if the mixture's right. Won't take a minute.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Andy, come here a minute, will you? How's that mixture look to you?
Sure a nice-looking pool, isn't it, Bill?
Big one. Sure be nice to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why don't you look into it?
Well, all I could afford to do right now is look into it.
Okay, Sergeant, 6 to an even. Want to go over by the truck, do some of this racket so we can talk?
All right, that's fine.
I hope I got something for you. Not sure if it'll be worth anything to you.
You said on the phone you got a call last night.
Well, I didn't. My wife did. They wanted to talk to me, but I wasn't home yet. Out finishing a pool for some folks in Encino.
Uh-huh.
Have a seat there if you want. Clean off this running board for you.
Well, that's all right. Fine.
Good.
Well, what was the gist of the phone call, Mr. Stage? Who was it?
Well, as I say, the wife answered. Feller told her his name was Mr. Archer. Said he was collecting for the crippled kids' home. Of course, the wife knew the setup. After you talked to me, I warned her about the phony collectors going around.
What'd she tell him, Nancy?
Well, she didn't get a chance to tell him anything. He did most of the talking. Gave her a big spiel about how much the poor crippled kids needed help. The wife asked him if he'd leave a number so I could call him back when I got home.
Well, did he leave a number?
No. Gave some phony excuse he wouldn't be at the same phone, something like that.
No.
Went out to ask her if she couldn't make out a check. Said he could come right out to pick it up. The wife said no, she couldn't. Matter of fact, she couldn't. I've got the checkbook. Excuse me. Andy, get one of the boys to help you down the hole. You can't do that all by yourself. My partner, Andy's a great worker.
Yes, sir. Well, what was the upshot of the phone conversation between Archer and your wife, I mean?
Well, she kept asking for a phone number or an address, someplace where I could get back to him when I got home. I guess they got it figured, though. He wouldn't give her a thing.
And that's the way it ended, sir?
Yes, sir, that's it. Might be I'll have better luck, though.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, this fella Archer told the wife he'd call me back tonight.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Fatima contains the finest tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Switch to Fatima today.
Monday, February 27th, 1:30 p.m. As soon as we found out there was a possibility that one of the bunco suspects might contact the potential victim, George Stage, that night, Bill and I started making arrangements to be ready for him. At 6:45 p.m., we were at the Stage home when the suspect telephoned. He identified himself as Norman Archer. George Stage followed our instructions to the letter. He agreed to make a contribution and asked Archer to call at his home to pick up the check. He set the date for 9 o'clock that night to allow us enough time for preparation. We got in touch with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and he sent out 2 of his sound technicians with a microphone set up and a tape recorder. By 8 p.m., the installation was complete. The microphone concealed in the living room of the stage home, and the tape recorder set up in an adjoining room. Bill and I were stationed at the recorder in the bedroom. 8:30, 8:45. We waited. 9 p.m., 9:05.
Somebody at the front door.
Yeah. You want to give me that headset, Bill?
Here you go.
Thank you. Okay. Want to turn on the recorder?
Right, Joe.
Stage? Yes, sir, that's right. My name's Norman Archer, Mr. Stage. You're glad to know it. Oh, yeah, Archer. Glad to meet you. Come on in. Thank you. Very nice place you have here. Comfortable. We're pretty happy with it. Now, sit down, Archer. Thank you. Well, say, I hope I'm not interrupting your evening, Mr. Stage. Oh, no, that's all right. Just sitting here watching television. I see. Well, I don't want to take up a moment of your time. I don't suppose I have to tell you what a worthy cause it is I represent, Crippled Children's Home. I'm glad to make a donation. It's one of my favorite charities. I'm certainly happy to hear that, sir. Whether you haven't any idea how much good your money does. Those little tots out at home really need our help, all the help we can give them. I suppose they do. Are you one of the officials out at the home? Well, yes, I suppose you can call it that. I'm one of the authorized collectors for the maintenance fund. I have a receipt here for your donation, all made out in your name. Yes, here we are. I suppose you know that all donations to the home are deductible from your income tax. Yeah. Well, here we are. See, it's all filled out, your name and address. This space here I'll left vacant, the amount of your contribution. I'll put it down right now. All right. How much would you like me to put you down for, sir? Well, I don't know. I don't have too much cash on hand. Would a check be all right? Well, actually, we don't like to be fussy, but it does help our bookwork. The donations are made in cash, still pays the handling of funds. Oh, well, I've only got $20 or $30 in cash. I'd like to give more than that. You sure a check wouldn't be all right? Well, as I say, it's simple if the donation is cash, but a check is all right. That's fine. Okay. Make it out for you. All I've got here is my company check. How's that? Company checks are all I have here. Consolidated Pool Company. I guess it'll work just as good. Be like a donation from the company. Oh, fine. Now, how should I make that out now payable to the Crippled Children's Home? No, the home doesn't have a commercial banking account. It's not incorporated, you know. Oh, isn't it? I thought it was. Oh, I usually handle the check donations through my personal account, so you can just make it out to me. We have to simplify bookwork, and it takes a lot of work to run a home like that, and we can't afford a bookkeeper either. See. I'll make it out to, sorry, what's your first name again? Norman Archer. Archer. How much shall I put you down for? Well, let's see. I think I gave $200 last year. Yeah, I think that was it. Yes, we certainly appreciate it, too. Of course, it's like everything else. Our maintenance costs have gone up. You give those youngsters nothing but the best. I mean, if you could see your way clear to make it a little more this year, we'd certainly thank you for it. That goes for those crippled kids, too. Well, I guess I could make it a little more. We've had a pretty good year. Let's make it $250. That'd be fine. That's wonderful. Sure appreciate it, Mr. Stade. Really, if it wasn't for such a great cause, I'd be embarrassed asking you for money. No, not at all. Only glad I can afford it. Here you are. You better watch the ink. I think it's still wet. Thank you very much, sir. I guess I don't have to tell you again how much we appreciate it. Let's see. Where did I put my hat? It's right outside in the hallway. Oh, yeah. There you are. Thank you. Well, I'll see that your check gets in the bank first thing in the morning. All right. Thanks for coming out. Pleasure, Mr. Stage. Thank you. You don't know how much this check means to us. I think I do. Good night. Good night, sir.
Joe?
Come on, let's go.
You hear it all right? You hear what he said?
Yes, sir, we got it.
How rotten can you get, huh?
Yes, sir. Bill, you want to take a look out the window?
Right.
Mr. Stage, will you leave that tape recorder right where it is? Don't let anyone touch it. We'll be back.
Yeah, all right.
He's pulling out, Joe. Heading down the street. Race it in.
All right, let's go. We'll call you, Mr. Stage.
Yeah, okay.
You see him, Bill?
Yeah. Down past the next block.
All right, let's hurry. Go ahead, slide on my side. Now, let's keep the lights off for a couple of blocks. Don't get them excited.
All right.
Can you see him? One turning left, race sedan. Is that him?
Let's see. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Pull up close if you can, huh? See if we can make his license.
Give it a try. How's that?
A little closer. Okay, that's fine. 1 sugar 16605.
All right.
I'll check it to see if it's hot. 1K80 to control 1. 1K80 to control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. All other cars on frequency 6 stand by.
1K80 to Control 1. Request rolling make for stolen and DMV on 1 Sugar 16605. Repeat, 1S16605. KMA 367.
Control 1 to 1K80. 1 Sugar 16605. Stand by.
You should have gotten a good look at him, Bill. Might have recognized him, huh?
I couldn't take a chance. Anyway, it's worth more if we get him and his partner together. Wrap it all up in one. Save us a lot of headache.
Yeah, well, don't lose him. He turned left up the next corner.
Yeah, I saw him. He hasn't made it.
Yeah, I think we're in the clear. All right, you can turn your lights on, huh?
All right.
Control 1 to 1K80. Control 1 to 1K80. 1 Sugar 16605, no 1. Car is a 1950 Pontiac, 2-door sedan. Registered to Charles A. Sutton, 5840 Octavia Street, Los Angeles. Motor number 1 Adam 6 Paul 3342. Legal the same. KMA 367.
1K80 to Control 1. Would you check records for Charles A. Sutton? Age and description unknown. Rush request. We have suspect under rolling surveillance.
Control 1 to 1K80. Roger.
Looks like he's slowing down, Joe. Yeah.
All right, don't press him. Yeah, he's pulling up. He stopped there.
Better cut the light.
Yeah, pull up right here, huh?
Can you see him?
Yeah. Going up to that house. Porch light on.
Yeah. Must be where he keeps his pad. Acts like he's been there before.
There's a man answering the door. He's going in.
Control 1 to 1K80. Come in.
1K80 to Control 1. Go ahead.
Control 1 to 1K80. We have a Charles A. Sutton, WMA, 42 years, 5'9", 163 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. He has a long felony record, suspicion of robbery, suspicion of burglary, grand theft, bunco. Also 3 outstanding traffic warrants. License number 1 Sugar 16605.
1K80 to Control 1. Roger. KMA 367.
What do you think?
Let's take him.
Right.
All right, you want to take the back, Bill? I'll go in the front.
Okay, give me a second to get around.
Right.
Yeah?
Police officer, want to talk to... All right, come on, open it up. Oh, carry the cop! All right, hold it right there, against the wall.
All right, Joe, back inside, police officers. Joe, all right?
Yeah, did you get him all right?
It's okay. Come on up front, Joe.
What are you trying to do? What's this all about?
We'll talk downtown. You know what it's all about.
All right, over next to your partner.
What are you doing anyway? You haven't got anything on us.
You want to get the cuffs on him, Bill?
Stand still, both of you.
Here's mine.
What's the pitch here anyway? Harry and I haven't done anything. Busting in here like this, private house, you got no business here.
$250 says you're wrong.
What?
This check in your right-hand pocket. All right, come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, this coming weekend, I'd like to suggest that you put Fatima's at the top of your shopping list. You'll find it mighty convenient to have enough Fatima's around the house to last into the next week. When you shop, just look for the bright, sunny yellow carton. You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke. And remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Get a carton tomorrow. Fatima.
Charles A. Sutton and his accomplice Harold E. Mather were tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft money and received sentences as prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. The initial suspect, Seidel, pled guilty to petty theft and received a sentence of 1 year in the county jail. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ken Peters, Virginia Gregg, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima, made by the same people who make popular Chesterfield cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Each Thursday night, it's Counter Spy on NBC.
about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A steady supply of high-grade narcotics is finding its way into your city. For 2 months, you've been trying to run down the source. The first real break finally comes. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, October 8th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 4:05 p.m. when I got to 318 West 1st Street, the first floor. Narcotics detail. Joe? Hi, Frank. You all threw up in court, eh?
Yeah, I went to the jury. I don't think he'll be out long.
Well, I hope they hook him this time. He's overdue.
I don't see how they can miss. You can't tell, though. Never know what a jury's going to do.
Yeah. What do you got here?
Felony car brought him in about a half hour ago. Pretty high.
What's he shooting?
H. Must have had a big pop. Can't talk to him.
Anything on him?
2 cats. Had him taped inside the collar of his shirt. Crime lab analyzed it. Same stuff we've been chasing. European. High grade.
He come up with anything?
Nothing. He talks a lot, but he didn't say anything. Why don't you take him on?
I'll give it a try.
Mr. Jennings, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
Well, how do you do, sir? Sure happy to know you, Sergeant. Have a chair.
Yeah, thank you. A cigarette?
Yeah, I don't mind if I do.
All right. Here, I'll give you a light.
Thank you. By the way, Sergeant, if you have any influence around here at all, I'd sure appreciate it if you tell this young fellow here to relax. He worries too much. Keeps telling me there's something wrong.
Wasn't there, Mr. Jennings?
Well, no, of course not. It's not that I don't enjoy the boy's company, but I've got an appointment. Very important one, 11 o'clock this morning.
That's so?
Yes, very important. I have to be there at 11 sharp.
You're a little late, aren't you? It's past 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, no, it couldn't be.
Clock on the wall right behind you.
Well, what do you know about that? That time sure flies. Well, they'll wait for me. Well, I better get a move on. Sure glad to have met you, Sergeant. Glad to meet you too, young
No, just a minute, Mr. Jennings. It's not that simple. You better sit down.
But I told you I have an appointment very important.
Sorry, it'll have to wait. Sit down.
All right.
How about it, Jennings? When did you have your last fix?
What do you mean, when I have a fix?
You know what we mean. Your arm looks like a punch board.
Oh, the scars. Yes, of course. I take vitamin shots.
Hey, what's your doctor's name?
Dr. Young, Eldon Young, down on South Hoover.
You know his phone number, do you?
No, I don't. It wouldn't do any good to call him anyway.
No, why?
Well, he's not there. He's dead.
You sure of that?
Well, ought to be. I went to his funeral.
When did he die?
Oh, I don't know. 2 or 3 months ago. Sure was a nice fellow. Fine doctor.
That's a sample, Joe. Been rattling off like that ever since they brought him in.
Not the usual run. He's sure not seedy looking, is he?
Look, Sergeant, I don't think I quite understand this. What's this all about?
Mr. Jennings, you're hooked and you're hooked bad. When did you have your last fix?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't quite remember. I'd like to make it clear, though, I'm not a bum. I'm not addicted to the stuff.
You're not?
Really, it's the truth. I can take it or leave it alone. I take an occasional shot. That's about the size of it.
Where do you get the stuff, Jennings?
I told you, my doctor.
No legitimate doctor gave you the stuff they found on you. They don't dispense heroin. Now, how about it?
How about what, Sergeant?
You going to tell us the truth? Jennings?
Well, frankly, Sergeant, no, I don't think I will. I'm not an informer.
It's up to you, mister. We're going to find out sooner or later.
I'm sorry, you're not going to find out from me. Now, look, let's not get into an argument, shall we? I don't have anything against you. Matter of fact, I like you. I'd like to get along with you.
We're not going to argue, Jennings. It'd be useless to tell you that we're trying to help you.
Are you married? Do you have a family?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live?
Sorry, I can't tell you. I'm not dragging them into this. That's why I don't carry any identification.
All right, Jennings. You want to get your hat? Let's go.
Go? Where?
Main jail. We're booking you in.
Why? What for?
Possession of narcotics.
But I told you I'm not an addict. You can't keep me in jail. I only use it occasionally.
Yeah, sure.
Is there anything wrong with that? Can't see any harm in that, can you? Are you listening? 1 minute.
I'll tell that in the morning, will you? 4:38 p.m. The felony car officers who picked up the suspect, Jennings, took him to the main jail where they booked him for violation of the H&S Code, Section 11,500. He'd been checked through R&I, but he had no previous criminal record. Knowing that he was bound to become ill, he was ordered into isolation, and the jailer instructed to notify the doctor in attendance if Jennings needed attention. 5:15 p.m. We went over to the crime lab and checked with Jay Allen, who'd analyzed the 2 capsules found taped to the inside of Jennings' shirt collar. He told us it was the same grade of high-test heroin which had been found in the possession of other addicts during the past 2 months. We knew it was of European origin. We knew it was finding its way into the city. We knew it was being made available to addicts. We picked up half a dozen pushers in the last few weeks with heroin of identical quality in their possession. But the basic source of supply still remained unknown. We were convinced that none of the pushers knew who or what the ultimate source was. The following morning, after Frank and I signed in, we went over to the main jail, signed out the suspect, Jennings, for interrogation, and he was brought to the interview room. His face was white and he was trembling. It was only a matter of time before he got worse, when the withdrawal pain set in.
Morning, Jennings. I gotta get out of here. Nobody told me to be like this when I got started on the stuff. I can't stand any more of this.
Bad?
I'm gonna die. I wish I could die. Why can't they give me something?
I will talk to the doctor. It's the best we can offer. He'll do what he can for you.
Can you get it now?
I'd like to ask you a few questions first.
Then hurry, will you? I'm sick, awful sick.
Where do you get your stuff, Jennings? What's the man's name?
I don't know. It's the truth. I don't.
How do you get your junk?
A fellow named Eddie, bartender. I give him the money. He brings the stuff back.
How much you pay for it?
$6 a cap. I don't know what he pays. I pay him $6.
Is he a user?
Says he isn't. I don't know. I think he is. How about that, doctor? I can't take this.
Where do we contact Eddie?
On South Main near 4th. One with a big airplane on the sign.
What's his last name, you know? Eddie what?
I don't know.
What's he look like?
Tall. He's got blonde hair. Wears a big signet ring. Eddie, that's all I know. Good guy. He was trying to help me.
Any idea where he gets the junk?
I don't know, except one night I was with him.
Yeah?
Drove out to a little joint in Manchester, beer garden. He went in alone. When we got back downtown, he had the stuff. I don't know.
You know if he got it from a man who worked there, or do you think it could have been one of the customers?
I didn't see him. I didn't go in. I don't know.
You know anybody else who's in with this Eddie?
Anybody with $1? He'd do anything for money.
Hey, he ever tell you where this junk's coming from? Who's bringing it in?
Oh, I asked him once. He got a little sore. Said, what do you care as long as you get yours? I don't know.
A cigarette, Jennings?
No. If I could just rest. If I could just let go. Can't you do anything for me? Why did they tell you it's going to be like this?
I'd like to have you help us. Now, as long as there are men like Eddie running loose, there's going to be men like you that he's going to feed on. How about it? Is there anything else you can tell us?
That's all I know. I got the stuff from Eddie. Talk to him. No more questions, huh?
One more, Jennings, about your family.
Don't want to talk about it.
Your wife called. She found out you were in jail.
No.
She's coming down to see you.
She can't. I don't want to see her. Tell her not to come.
We can't stop her.
Caused her enough trouble. 20 years of it. First the booze, now this.
How long you been on it, Jennings?
A year and a half. Been downhill all the way. 3 kids. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll lose our house. Lost my business already. All our friends. You don't know what it's like.
We got an idea.
No, you haven't. You got no conception. It's been hell. Nobody's gone through what I have. Lost what I have. Suffering. Year and a half of it. Really suffered. Nobody knew either. Nobody suffered the way I did. Nobody.
I can think of one.
What?
How about your wife? Jennings was returned to his cell. We contacted the jail doctor and briefed him on the suspect's condition. That afternoon, Frank and I drove to the bar on South Main Street near 4th, where we located the bartender, Eddie, whom Jennings had told us about. It was fairly apparent that he was under the influence of narcotics. We arrested him, took him back to the office, and began questioning him. A check with R&I showed that his true name was Eddie Hartsook, and that he'd had several prior arrests for possession of narcotics and 1 arrest on the ABC Act. Unlike Jennings, he broke almost immediately. He wouldn't confess to being a pusher, but he did admit that he was an addict and that he was supplied by a Jules Zimmerman, the owner of a German beer garden out on Manchester Avenue. He told us he'd met Zimmerman through a mutual friend who was now doing time in Folsom for robbery. He identified the friend as Pete Heimer. We checked with records and found it was true. Hartsook was booked in as a bag addict. Then we contacted Captain Larry O'Brien up at Folsom Penitentiary, who filled us in on Pete Heimer's background. After that, we checked R&I on the owner of the beer garden, Jules Zimmerman. We found he was registered as an ex-con from Minnesota, where he'd done time for burglary and grand theft. After a meeting with Captain Kearney, it was agreed that our first move was to get next to Zimmerman. I was to pose as a recent parolee from Folsom, a friend of Pete Heimer's. That night, I attempted to make my first contact with Zimmerman at the beer garden out on Manchester Avenue. Waiter? Yes, sir. Can I help you? Yeah, draft beer. Bring me a bag of peanuts, too. All right, sir. Just a minute. Is the boss around? Sir? Jules, the boss. Is he around? I'd like to see him.
I saw him around a minute ago.
Yeah, there he is. I'll tell him. Right. Yes, you want to see me? You Jules Zimmerman?
That's right.
Jack Bronson. I'm a friend of Pete Heimer's. He told me to look you up.
I thought Pete was in Folsom.
Yeah, he is. I was in there with him. His cellmate. I drew parole about a month ago.
Oh, I see. Mind if I sit down?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Sure.
How's Pete making out? Doing all right?
Well, it's kind of rough. He's fighting time, doing it the hard way. He's not young anymore, you know.
Yeah, it's too bad. A nice fellow, Pete. Never did use his head, though. Here you are, sir. Draft beer, peanuts. Mr. Zimmerman?
No, nothing.
Yes. Where are you from originally, Bronson, L.A.?
No, Detroit.
What are you figuring on doing now? Going back there?
No, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still looking around. Can't go back to my racket, that's the thing.
That's so?
Yeah, they got my M.O. tag from here to Seattle.
What's that?
Safe? That's all I ever worked. That's what I
Do
thought.
you mind if I...
No, help yourself.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you've had tough luck. How much time you do?
2 10, 7 in, 3 out.
You working now?
Yeah, lumberyard.
What's that?
I said a lumberyard.
Must be easy. Your hands don't show any work.
No, of course not. I don't go into that rough stuff. I'm a clerk over there. It's an easy touch, not much dough, though.
What are your plans? Got anything in mind?
Oh, I don't know. Money. Pete told me if I ever got disgusted to look you up.
No, I don't know. There's not much doing around here right now.
I really tried to make it when I came out this time. I'd play it straight.
You want some of these?
No, thanks. You go ahead.
Okay.
Tried to play it straight, stay on the street. It can't be done. I can't punch a clock. It drives me crazy.
Oh, I wish I had something for you. Don't know this thing. It's rough, Bronson. I got an idea how you feel.
I guess you ought to know. Pete told me. Said you fell twice back east. Minneapolis, wasn't it?
He talks too much.
Not only to the right people. Nice setup you got here, Jules. You must sell a lot of beer, huh?
I get by.
Orchestra, big layout, first cabin.
Well, we got pretty good business going.
What's the pity, huh, Jules? I need a job. I got to turn about.
I wish I had something for you.
Now, look, I didn't spend all that time in the joint with Pete for nothing. I know the setup. Pete says you're a right guy. I can do business with you.
What do you mean?
Just that. I got contacts up by Fresno, Red Mountain. Good contacts. A lot of money up there. Pete says you handle quality stuff, European. The stuff they're pushing up around Fresno is nothing. Real lousy. If we play it straight, we can both score. We score good.
I don't think I'll follow you, Bronson.
I think you do. If we get the right stuff up there at the right time, we can clean up. I know we can.
That's so.
I got a buddy who had a bum a ride to get up there 4 months ago. Now he's driving a Cadillac. Great business up there. It's fast and it's clean.
Hey, you want another beer?
I can't afford a stall in this, Jules. There's a lot of sucker money around, and I want a piece of it.
Well, maybe we can talk, Bronson. I don't know. Might work out something. I'd like to get to know you.
What's the pitch? I said I was a friend of Pete's, didn't I? Check with him, or don't you trust him?
I haven't heard from Pete lately. I like to. Can't be too careful, you know. It pays to check things out.
All right, go ahead and check. I just haven't got the time to throw away, that's all.
I'm so crazy about these peanuts. Well, I'll tell you. I might send the wife up to visit Pete this Sunday. She doesn't know him, but she can ask him about you. I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I just want to get going. If you haven't got any junk to push, put me next to somebody who has, huh? There's dough to be made, enough for both of us. I want to make it. You can't go wrong on the deal. You're smart enough to see that, aren't you?
You talk fast, Bronson.
Look, you're not doing me any favor. I'm doing you one. If you're not ready to move on the deal, just say so. If you are, okay.
Well, it's a big rush. Take your time. Let's talk about it.
You already have. How about it?
How about what?
You got the setup. Now, when do I get an answer?
When I get one from Pete.
11:30 p.m. I traded small talk with the narcotic suspect, Jules Zimmerman, until closing time. Then I left the beer garden, took a streetcar back to the room I'd rented in a small third-rate hotel down on South Broadway. The following morning, I got in touch with the office, and they, in turn, contacted Captain Larry O'Brien at Folsom Penitentiary and acquainted him with the facts of the case. He was told that Mrs. Zimmerman would arrive at the prison to visit Pete Heimer the following Sunday, and that she had never seen Heimer before in person. O'Brien made immediate arrangements to have one of the officers at the prison pose as Pete Heimer and visit with Mrs. Zimmerman. Heimer himself would know nothing about it. I spent the next few nights at the beer garden trading more small talk with the suspect, Jules Zimmerman. The conversation included fishing, the liquor business, gambling, sports, everything but narcotics. I couldn't tell how I was making out with him, whether he was sold on me or not. I waited in my hotel room the following Sunday afternoon until Frank Smith called me from the office. He told me Captain O'Brien at Folsom had just contacted them. He said Mrs. Zimmerman had visited the prison, that she talked with the guard posing as Pete Heimer, and that apparently everything had gone off well. 9:30 the following Monday night. I went back to the beer garden and met with Jules Zimmerman.
Yeah, not a bad crowd for a Monday night. Usually a lot slower than this.
Well, I'll let you worry about that, Jules. We've been through enough small talk. Now, how about it? What's the answer?
Gotta be in a hurry, don't you? Relax. It'll work out.
Not without a push, it won't. Now, how about it? You said you'd have an answer tonight.
I got one.
All right.
It's no.
What?
The idea's all right. I just don't like the way you figured it, that's all.
Yeah.
I don't take the risk of getting the stuff up to Fresno. If you buy here. After that, I don't care. How you get up north is your work.
Well, if that's the way you feel, I'm not going to fight you on it. Your wife checked with Pete.
Yes, sir. Pete gave the go-ahead. You're everything you say you are. Understand you did a couple of big favors for Pete up there.
Well, I'd expect the same from anybody of mine.
If Pete told the wife to spit a beef for him. Could have talked, you kept your mouth shut. Only one more thing I want to know.
You asked enough, haven't you?
You ever chip you around with the junk?
Do I look like it? I wouldn't touch it for $1 million. I know the things I'm weak on. Each isn't one of them.
Good. I don't want anyone around to shoot the stuff. Seen it happen 100 times. Cops pull them in and you're gone. They all talk when they get sick. Let's back business. Come on back in the office.
All right.
You say you got these friends who want to buy. How much money can they raise?
Well, it depends. How much stuff can you come up with? I mean, good stuff.
Everything I handle's good. Here, go ahead.
All right.
How about it? How much they want?
I told you, it depends. How much can you deliver?
That's up to the big man. I don't know how much he's got left. I figure stores are pretty low.
Thought you were the big man.
Bum guess. I handle the stuff for him, that's all. I get my cut.
Well, he must be big. Who is he?
None of your business. You don't make the deals with him, you make them through me.
All right, with me. You say you figure he's pretty low on the supply, huh?
Mm-hmm.
When's he going to have enough to deal? I mean, a big buy.
Maybe this Saturday, I don't know.
When will you know?
Saturday when I see it. How much cash can your friends raise?
10,000, maybe more, depends.
You have the money by then?
Maybe. I'll have to have a couple of days, contact my friends. Probably they'll want more. How's the stuff come in?
Why?
So what do you think? Why? I want the right slant. Where's it coming from? I'm not going to get loaded down with Mexican stuff. We can help it.
Don't worry. European comes in by ship.
Yeah, well, it doesn't gel for me. How do they get it by customs?
They don't. I do. By the way, you doing anything Saturday?
Why?
I'll take a little run in my fishing boat. One of the boys is sick. I'll need another deckhand. What kind of sailor are you?
I can make out.
All right. Come along. We'll do a little fishing. You might learn something.
Yeah.
Smuggling's not as tough as it looks.
This guy cold calls me during dinner, trying to convince me that his wonderful money management advice will make me rich. I say, I already have someone for that. He says, oh, yeah? What did your guy do for you? I say, well, let's see. He helps plan my investments for long-term growth. He administers my 401k, and he's got people managing my trust real estate holdings and dealing with all the zoning and entitlement stuff that drives me crazy. He can get me $1 million line of credit to help pay my capital gains tax, and he can occasionally talk some financial sense into my brother-in-law. Well, there's this pause on the other end, and then he says, do you need any mutual funds?
At City National Bank, we realize you do things not everyone can do, and you need things not every bank can deliver. Talk to a trusted investment specialist at City National, the way up. Visit us at cnb.com, member FDIC. Some investments are not FDIC insured, have no bank guarantee, and may lose value.
I'm talking to myself. Again. This time I'm talking car insurance. I don't want to think about car insurance. I know, but I need to pick a car insurance company, and I heard about Wawanisa Insurance. Yeah, from my sister Jan. Wawanisa. I hear they're really good. Oh, the best. The Department of Insurance said they had no real complaints last year. 0 customer complaints. And Jan says they settle claims fast, fairly, and accurately. Great service. Just what I'm looking for. Wawanisa gets an A-plus rating from AM Best and has been in business for over 100 years. Wow. Service and stability. Did I mention that Wawanisa has really low rates, too? Jan's been saving money with them for years. Gee, with the money I'll save with Wawanisa's low rates, I'll have more money to spend on the kids. Okay, I'm going with Wawanisa. With Wawanisa, I'll never have to think about car insurance again.
Check Wawanisa's low rates today by calling 1-800-438-4300 and ask about their homeowner and condo insurance, too. Call 1-800-438-4300. Wawanisa Insurance. Excellent service at an excellent price.
KNX 1070 News Radio.
Tuesday, October 13th, 9 a.m. I called the office and briefed him on the results of my conversation with the suspect, Jules Zimmerman, the night before at the beer garden. Captain Kearney put my partner, Frank Smith, on the phone, and we set up a meeting for that afternoon. 2:30 p.m., I left my hotel room and took a streetcar downtown to Pershing Square. Excavating work for the new underground garage at the square was still going on. A temporary wooden fence circled the construction area. I went to the southeast corner of the square where a courtesy stand had been put up for the sidewalk superintendent. I stood around with a dozen other people watching the excavation. I waited. 2:45 p.m.
Joe, how's it going?
Hi, Frank. Not bad.
Hey, they're moving this thing right along, aren't they? Looks like they got that hole just about dug.
I think you're going to have to go deeper than that. It's kind of hard to judge from up here. Looks deeper than it really is. Well, I had some pretty good luck last night.
That's what I hear. How's it shape up?
He told me the stuff's been coming in by ship. Zimmerman did. I think maybe he's telling the truth.
How do you think they're working?
I don't know. He wouldn't say. Might have a chance to find out this Saturday. What's the pitch? Well, Zimmerman's got a boat. He offered to take me out this Saturday. He mentioned they're expecting a shipment of the junk the same day. Could be he's got some connection on one of the ships coming in from overseas. He takes his boat out, meets the ship, and somehow they transfer the junk without attracting attention.
Any chance you can get the name of the connection, if there is one, I mean?
I'm going to try. Supposed to be a big man in the setup, too. I haven't got his name yet, either.
Somebody over Zimmerman?
Yeah. You handle the details for Saturday, will you? I'll keep you brief.
Okay.
Check on all the ships that are due into Wilmington Friday and Saturday, will you? I'll find out where Jules keeps his boat moored, and you can make arrangements to have the dock area covered and notify customs, too, huh?
Right. You any kind of a deal set up with Zimmerman yet?
Yeah, I'll buy for $10,000. I'm supposed to be making it for friends up in Fresno. Tell the captain I'll need some dough.
How much?
Well, all you can rake together, 1,000 if you can. You know, small bills make it look big.
Right. I'm a little worried, Joe. Things seem to be rolling out too fast.
How do you mean?
Possible Zimmerman might be wise. Maybe he's just stringing you along. You're not going to be able to follow you out in the bay, not without tipping the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to be strictly on your own on that boat. If Zimmerman's wise, he and the gang will be in a perfect spot. Maybe we could set it up to have a boat standing by if you need help, maybe half a mile away or so.
Yeah, might scare them off, ruin the whole deal, Frank.
Yes, it's the trouble, Joe. If they're wise and they get you out on that boat, they got you cold. They won't give odds on your chances.
Well, then we're even. I'm not giving any on theirs. For the rest of the week, I spent the days in my hotel room and my nights at the beer garden setting up the buy with Zimmerman. Thursday night in Zimmerman's office, we agreed on the final details for the buy. In the process, I succeeded in finding out the plan for the meet. At 2:30 Saturday morning, Zimmerman, 2 of his gang members, and myself would board his boat at a private dock in the San Pedro area and proceed 5 miles out from shore. How the actual transfer of the narcotics was supposed to be made, I still couldn't find out, but I did learn that Zimmerman's main contact on the deal was a Marcus Torricelli. He was supposed to be a steward aboard an inbound freighter. The next day, I relayed the information to the office and gave him a final briefing on the plans for the meet as Zimmerman outlined them to me. Saturday, 2:30 a.m. Zimmerman and I, along with the 2 members of the gang, boarded his boat at the private dock and proceeded out to sea. It was a fairly new boat, well appointed, a 38-foot motor cruiser. The 2 men kept busy above deck. Zimmerman and I played cards, talked, and drank beer down in the cabin. 5 a.m.
2 pair of queens up. You do better?
And you dealt it. 3 trays. Had enough?
$40 worth, plenty. Want another beer?
No, I got a headache. What time you got?
Later than I thought. It's 1 after 5. Let's go topside, give it. About time we start looking around anyway. So I better get up there and check our course.
All right. Sure a nice boat you got, Jules. Just set you back plenty, huh?
Wouldn't believe it. I got it insured for $20,000, cost me $500.
You paid $500 for this?
And a society woman owned it. Husband left it to her. She got hooked.
Oh.
One of my best customers. Spent everything she had on the junk. I got this for $500 worth of H, high grade.
What's she do for stuff now?
She doesn't need it. She's dead. Really a nice boat. Never enjoyed anything more in my life. Just a minute.
What's the matter?
Yeah, must be it.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that freighter. A couple of points off starboard.
Oh, yeah.
George? Hey, George.
Yeah, Jules. Okay, I see it. Want a signal now?
No, hold on. Let's make sure. Hand me glasses there, will you?
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks.
Have a look here. What's fit?
Just a minute. Yeah, Panamanian flag. That's it. Very no. All right, George, let's try. Swing around.
Okay, Jules.
Give the rudder hard right. 3 complete turns. Keep astern of her.
Right.
Neat setup, Jules. What happens now?
And another pair of glasses there. Watch for yourself.
All right. Delivery comes from the ship, huh? Big boy on board?
That's right. On board here.
You really had me fooled. Let's keep it that way.
To tell you the truth, I thought you had us figured.
No, I didn't. I'll swear with you. You got a good front, Jules. Keep it that way and you'll be hard to make.
I'm on the home stretch. You're not going to make me. 2 more trips and I'm getting out. Then I really go fishing.
There he is, Jules. Back on the stern. Gonna dump it?
All right, keep an eye out. Hey, train your glasses on the stern of that freighter.
Yeah? What about it?
Just a minute. Now, you see it? Now?
Oh, a man coming out, huh? Looks like he's dumping some garbage over there.
That's right. Hey, don't watch the man. Watch the garbage. It doesn't go through customs.
Pretty smart. That's your contact, huh?
Yeah, Marcus. Good boy. Hasn't failed yet. All right, George. Move in. Get the net. Ready for the pickup?
All ready, Jules.
Still, I just can't get over it. It's sure smart. How do you keep the junk dry?
No problem. Just dump the package over along with the garbage. Waterproof wrapping. Keep your eye on it, that's all.
Yeah, I got it fine.
All right, George. Hand down the net.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right, coming alongside. Hold it steady. I got it. All right, let's go. George, let's go.
Okay.
All right, Bronson, down below. Okay. Sure make it look easy.
All it takes is a little savvy. Now, let's have a look here.
Ping pong balls. What's the pitch there?
You ever hear one sinking?
Oh, yeah, sure.
3, 4. Yeah, all here. Good delivery. Hey, Bronson, your share, 10 grand worth. How about the money?
How about a look?
You suit yourself. All right.
Okay, fine.
Well, about the money?
I don't know. I'll give you 1,000 now.
What do you mean 1,000? There's 10 grand here. That's what you wanted.
Take it easy, will you? I know what I was getting into out here. Could have been a heist. I couldn't bring all the dough along.
I want the money.
I told you I'll give you 1,000 now. You get the rest when we get in.
Wait, there's something wrong here. I don't like this. I'll call George. We'll head out again.
Relax, will you, Jules? There's nothing wrong.
Don't try to con me. I'm not taking a chance there's something wrong.
All right, hold it right there.
I'm calling George.
Call him loud first time. You won't get a second one.
Nice gun.
Fuzz.
Lousy.
Now, you go back and sit down. No, right where you are. Hands on the table.
Look, Bronson, we got time to talk this out. I got a big investment here. I got a lot to lose. All you have to lose is a pinch.
You keep your hands on the table, will you?
I'll make it right by you. You won't be sorry. I'm a wealthy man. How much you want?
Keep your voice down.
Believe me, I'll make it right to you. You said you liked the boat, didn't you? You can have it, huh? Everything with it, okay?
No deal, Jules. It doesn't smell any better than your delivery.
What?
Garbage.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Jules Zimmerman, his contact Marcus Torricelli, and the other 2 members of the narcotics gang were filed on in the district attorney's office for violation of the State Health and Safety Code, Section 11,500, 1 count. They were found guilty and received sentences as prescribed by law. The violation carries a penalty of imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 5 nor more than 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, defense of our country against aggression abroad and inflation at home depends on our ability to fill both our military and civilian requirements. All Americans must work together. Remember, the better we produce, the stronger we grow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An unidentified man is abducted from a downtown street. The scene is checked where the man was reported taken. Bloodstains are found on the sidewalk. The abductors escaped in a gray sedan. No one saw the license number. Your job? Get him. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, March 18th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 6:48 p.m. when we got to the corner of 11th and South Pierce Street, the 797 Club.
Sorry, no more service tonight. Closing up.
Your name, Leon Morley?
Yeah, I can't serve you any drinks, so closing up.
Police officers, Mr. Morley. I'd like to talk to you a minute if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought maybe you were after a drink.
We were just talking to the officers in the radio car up the street, the car that answered the call out here tonight. They told us you're one of the people who saw what happened.
Well, yeah, I guess I did. I saw part of it anyway. Lousy deal. Kind of thing makes your ulcers pop. That's why I'm closing down early, going home.
We're following through in the investigation, Mr. Morley. I'd like to have you tell us everything you know about it, if you would, everything that you saw.
I told the cops in the radio car everything I know. It was about 6 o'clock, and I heard this big commotion out in the street. I didn't know what it was. Sounded like somebody was hurt. I went out and took a look. Marie in the beauty shop next door, she was outside rubbernecking, too. She saw as much as I did. You talked to her?
Yes, sir, we have. She wasn't too clear on some of the details. Maybe you can straighten it out for us.
I'm glad to if I can. What do you want to know?
You mind telling us in your own words just exactly how it happened? I mean, how you saw it?
Well, there's not an awful lot to it. I was working behind the bar here, and it was around 6 o'clock, like I say, maybe a couple of minutes after. I was just fixing up a round of drinks for some fellows when I heard this noise outside.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it was at first. It sounded like somebody screaming, like they were hurt.
You said you heard this commotion outside the bar about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I didn't go out right then. I finished mixing the round of drinks. First, I thought the racket was just a couple of early drunks, but it kept on. A man screaming. It got louder, and I decided to take a look.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and looked down the street a couple of doors, down toward the corner.
Which corner is that, Mr. Morley?
The nearest one, down to the left. Here, I'll show you.
All right, fine.
I didn't know what was happening. Terrible sound. Man screaming at the top of his lungs.
You recognize who the man was?
No, I didn't. Never saw him before. Didn't get too good a look at him anyway. It was getting kind of dark. Here, let me show you. Over here by the window.
Fine.
I see it was right down there, just next to that mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
These two guys had a hold of the man who was screaming. They were trying to drag him into a car, a gray sedan. The man was trying to fight him off.
Can you describe any of these three men for us?
No, I couldn't be sure about it. Like I say, it was getting kind of dark. Well, you can see for yourself they were about 75 or 100 feet away. Mm-hmm. This man they were trying to drag into the car, he kept screaming, "Leave me alone, you can have the money. Leave me alone, you can have my car." Looked like he was hurt to me, blood on his clothes.
Didn't anybody try to help him?
Well, you know how this neighborhood is. When there's trouble, they all cut out. They don't want to get involved. It happened pretty fast anyway. These two guys got this man in the back seat of the car, and the big guy got in the back seat with him. The smaller guy got in the front seat, and they took off.
And which way did they go, Mr. Morley?
Straight down the street there. It turned right at that corner.
Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see the license number?
No, I thought of it, though. They didn't turn the car lights on and went by pretty fast, too. I couldn't get a good look at it.
Was it a California plate, do you know?
Oh, yeah, I noticed that much. That's about all, though.
What kind of a car was it?
Like I told you, a gray sedan, 4-door. I couldn't tell the make. Fairly new car.
Well, did you notice anything outstanding about the car? Anything at all?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean outstanding?
Well, special markings of any kind. Anything unusual. Maybe some of the accessories. Spotlight? Anything like that?
No, nothing I noticed. The rear bumper was bent out, I think. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure of it.
Rear bumper?
Yeah. I saw it when they drove off. They drove right past the place here.
Well, how about the men, sir? Can you describe them at all?
No. One was pretty tall and thin. The other one was smaller. About the same build on the thin side. They sure must have worked that guy over. He was all bent over. Looked like he was holding his stomach. Stains all down the front of his suit. On the sidewalk, too. I guess you saw that.
Yes, sir, we did. Now, you're sure that you've never seen any of these men before? Nothing familiar about them at all?
No, sir, not to me. I think if I saw him before, I'd know it. Oh, just a minute. It's probably the wife. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. What do you think, Joe?
Well, it doesn't look too good. Stains on the sidewalk down there. If it was just a robbery, why'd they take the guy with them?
Got me. Possibly might have recognized him.
Well, maybe you got some, but I hope you're wrong. If he can make the hood, it's a good chance they're not going to turn the man loose alive.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's your office on the phone. I want to talk to either one of you.
Oh, I'll get it, Joe.
All right, thanks, Frank.
Phone straight back, Sergeant. Enter the bar.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Look, Sergeant, I got to have something to quiet my nerves. How about you? Want a drink?
No, thanks. Besides the woman in that beauty shop next door, Mr. Morley, did you notice anyone else around that saw what went on?
No, as far as I know, Marie and I were the only ones. Just like I told you, when there's any trouble around this neighborhood, they get off the street quick.
You can't think of anything else that might give us a break on this? Anything at all now?
Wish I could. I think I told you just about everything. Sure feel lousy.
Joe?
Yeah.
I was talking to Harry.
Yeah?
1A1 found the car, gray sedan.
Where'd they find it?
3rd and Bixel. It was empty. Key still in it.
You sure it's the right car?
Bloodstains in the back seat.
7:18 p.m. Frank and I left the 797 Club, got in the car, and drove down to 3rd and Bixel, where the abandoned gray sedan had been located. It matched the same general description of the abductor's car, a 4-door gray sedan, late model, with a damaged rear bumper. Dean Bergman from Leighton French dusted the car and succeeded in raising a half a dozen fingerprints, which he took back to the office for possible identification. The crime lab crew went over the car for additional physical evidence. The stains found on the back seat were identified as having been made by human blood. The white slip attached to the steering post showed the car was registered to a Kenneth L. Gorman at a Canal Street address. Before Frank and I left the scene, we got a report that approximately 20 minutes prior to the time the gray sedan had been located, another car had been stolen. It was a maroon, late model Club Coupe, license 7 Tom 7972. It had been taken in the same neighborhood, less than 2 blocks from where the gray sedan was abandoned. A broadcast and an APB was gotten out on it immediately. 8:05 p.m. After checking by the office, Frank and I drove down to check on the home address of the registered owner of the gray sedan, Kenneth L. Gorman. It was a white wood-frame cottage at the upper end of Canal Street. The woman who answered the door identified herself as Mrs. Elsie Gorman, a small middle-aged woman, blue eyes, partially graying hair.
No, I'm sorry, officers. My husband isn't home right now.
Where is he, Mrs. Gorman, do you know?
Well, he went downtown to see a friend of his, business appointment. Is there anything I can help you with?
Are you expecting your husband home pretty soon, ma'am?
Yes, I am. Matter of fact, he should have been home long before this. I don't know what's keeping him. Told me he was going downtown to collect some money a friend of his owed him. Said he'd be right back. I don't know what could be keeping him.
When do you leave the house, ma'am?
About 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's almost 8:30 now. It could be he stopped to have a beer with his friend. He usually phones, though, if he's going to be late. I don't understand these men sometimes.
You and your husband own a car, Mrs. Gorman?
Yes, we do. My husband has it right now. Why?
What kind of a car is it, ma'am?
A 49 Chevy sedan.
Gray color, 4-door?
Yes.
License number 7T7972?
Well, yes, I think that's it. Why? What's the matter? Something happened?
Nothing to get worried about, Mrs. Gorman. We located the car in the downtown area, parked on a side street. The keys were still in it. Thought we'd check on it.
Where was it parked?
Near 3rd and Bixel.
Well, that can't be right. This man my husband was going to see has his store on Alameda. It's on Alameda between 9th and 10th. No reason for Kenneth to drive the car way down on 3rd Street.
Possible he might have had another business appointment down there, ma'am. Maybe something he didn't mention to you?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it is possible. You'd think he'd call, though. He usually does when he's going to be out late like this.
What about this man your husband was going to see, Miss Gorman? You happen to know who he is?
Yes, Fred Bernard. He's in the sheet metal business. Has his shop on South Alameda. He owed my husband $300. My husband went down this afternoon to collect it.
He a friend of your husband's, is he?
Oh, yes, they're good friends. Fred and my husband have done business for years.
There wasn't any ill feeling between them about this debt?
No, of course not. It was just a bill for some materials. Why do you ask that?
Just routine questions, ma'am. Can you think of anyone at all who might have a quarrel with your husband? Somebody who has a grudge against him, maybe?
No. Why are you asking questions like that? Is something wrong? Something you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am. It's just a routine check, Miss Gorman. Nothing to worry about. I want to make sure he's all right, that's all.
The way you talk, it isn't all right. It's far from right. It's never gone this long without calling me. There must be something wrong.
No use getting yourself all worked up, ma'am. You admit your husband might have had another appointment after he left Bernard.
By the way, have you checked with Mr. Bernard yet, ma'am?
No, to tell you the truth, I haven't. I don't usually like to call my husband when he's out on business. I don't like to bother him. This is different, though. I think I'll call Fred Bernard right now.
It's a good idea. Do you mind if we wait, ma'am?
No, not at all. It'll only take me a minute. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Doesn't look too good, does it?
Car's abandoned, stains in the back seat. Man's late in getting home. It's all there.
Could be anything, couldn't it?
Doesn't look good.
Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
I just talked to Fred Bernard. He said my husband's been there and left.
What time did he leave Bernard?
About 3:15, 3:30. Fred Bernard paid my husband the $300 he owed him, and my husband left. Fred told me my husband asked him if he wouldn't have a glass of beer with him, but Fred said no, he was busy. So my husband said all right, he was going to have a beer at home. Told Fred he was going right home. That was at 3:15 this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there must be something wrong, I know it. It just isn't like my husband. He wouldn't leave the car like that. If he was late, at least he'd call me. Oh, would you excuse me again? I've had the dinner on the stove and boiled away to nothing. I want to turn it off.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead. I hope it works out all right. Seems like a nice woman.
Yes, she does.
Sure doesn't figure, does it? He's had plenty of time to get home. No reason why he shouldn't be here by this time.
Well, I can think of two.
Yeah?
An empty car and $300. We continued interviewing the wife of the missing man, Kenneth Gorman, and she told us that occasionally he did some drinking at neighborhood bars. She also told us that when her husband drank quite a bit in public places, he was over-friendly and he liked to brag and flash money. Mrs. Gorman got on the phone, contacted all their friends and relatives who happened to be home, but none of them had seen or heard from Mr. Gorman that day. Before Frank and I left, Mrs. Gorman gave us a complete description of her husband, the clothing he was wearing, and also a recent photograph of him. We called Fred Bernard, the friend of the missing man, the last known person to see him, and told him that we'd like to talk to him. He told us that he was working late, getting out a rush order, and that we could find him in his shop. 9:05 p.m. We located Bernard at his shop on South Alameda.
Won't take long, will it? An awful rush tonight.
Won't take long, sir. Did Mr. Gorman give you any idea where he was going when he left here this afternoon?
No, just like I told his wife on the phone. I paid him the money I owed him. He asked me if I wanted a beer, took a rain check on it, and he left. Went right out that door there.
You seem worried about anything, Mr. Gorman?
No, not that I could see. Seemed all right to me.
Had he been drinking, do you know?
No, couldn't say. If he was, I couldn't smell it on him.
Is there anything unusual about him at all? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, the same old Ken. Pretty good mood when I paid him. There's $300 cash. He's all dressed up. I guess you might call that unusual.
How do you mean unusual?
Well, Ken's like me. Working man, not much of a dresser. Usually find him in working clothes. I think it's the second time I ever saw him in a suit. A new one, too. Looks nice on him.
He didn't give you any indication at all where he might be going, did he?
No, he just collected his money and went out. I thought maybe he was going home. What did Miss Gorman tell you? Did you have any idea where he is?
No, sir. She told us he came down here to collect some money. She expected him right home. We're not trying to be nosy, Mr. Bernard, but how do Gorman and his wife get along? They're pretty happy together?
Yes, I guess you might say that. Get along as well as you could expect them to.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing. Ken's he's a fellow who likes his nightlife. Wife's just the opposite, quiet type. Almost left him once. Guess they're getting along pretty good now, though.
Why'd she almost leave him? Would you happen to know?
Well, she found him out with a girlfriend. Matter of fact, she caught him at a terrible row. Didn't understand any of it. The girlfriend wasn't much at all. Real lush.
You know the girl's name?
Yeah, I met her twice. Name's Elaine something. She works at a cafe 3 blocks from here. Real lush. She sure took me.
You know if Gorman's been seeing her lately?
Well, he says he hasn't been. I don't know. I never can tell when he's drinking, though. Didn't his wife mention the girl at all? No, I guess she wouldn't. It's been a terrible thing for her when she found out. Terrible.
How long ago was all this, Mr. Bernard? I mean, this affair Gorman had with this girl.
Oh, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago, just about that. I tell you, it was the queerest thing I ever saw. Ken has a nice, quiet wife of his at home, and they get along fine together, never fought, never quarreled. And he picks up with his girl Elaine, sure different.
How's that?
Real mean girl. 2 of them fought all the time.
9:40 p.m. We left Fred Bernard at his shop, drove to the restaurant where Gorman's girlfriend reportedly was working as a waitress, and we checked with the manager. He told us a girl by the name of Elaine Summerall had been employed there, but that she'd been fired for drinking on the job. He also told us that he had reason to suspect that Elaine Summerall was not the girl's true name. We showed the cafe manager a picture of Mr. Gorman, and he identified it. He said Gorman had been in that afternoon inquiring about the Summerall girl. Gorman had asked for the girl's forwarding address, but the manager told us that he'd thrown it away. We left our card with him and asked him to contact us immediately in the event the girl returned. 10:18 p.m. We drove back to the city hall and checked in at the office. We ran the name and description of the Summerall girl through R&I, and they told us they had a Summerall girl in the files who answered the description. Elaine Summerall, alias Elaine O'Donnell, alias Elaine Shellman. There were wants out on her for forgery, 3 counts, and grand theft merchandise. We signed out of the office, went across the street to the Federal Cafe, and had a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
It wouldn't look so rough if it wasn't for the stranger found in the back seat of that car.
It's hard to get around it. Points to more than robbery, doesn't it?
M.O. sure strikes me pretty funny, pulling the man off the street like that.
Must be either hard up or crazy, huh?
Federal Cafe. Just a minute. Friday?
Yeah.
Go on.
Right, thank you. I'll be right back, Frank. Yeah, Friday talking. Yeah, Glenn. Where? How long ago? Yeah, I see, huh? There wasn't, huh? Yeah, we'll roll on it right now. Tell them we're on our way in, will you? Yeah, right. Thanks, Glenn. Bye.
Yeah?
Chandler. They just found the maroon coupe, the one stolen in the neighborhood where Gorman's was dropped.
Where'd they find it?
Picked it off going up through Lancaster, sheriff's deputies.
Did it look good on our job?
Well, there were 2 men in the car. One of them had a knife, bloodstains on their clothes, all over the inside of the car.
How's it figure?
It doesn't. Not a scratch on either one of them.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day. Yes, more smokers coast to coast are finding that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, here's the practical way to prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke. plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, more and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas.
Compare them yourself. King-size Fatima, extra mild and soothing, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Monday, March 18th, 10:40 p.m. After we received the report that the stolen maroon coupe, along with the two suspects, had been recovered north of the city in the town of Lancaster, Frank and I stopped by the record bureau and checked to see if there was a make on either one of the suspects. The first one, Paul Mike, white male American, 32 years, 5'11", 150 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He had a long felony record, including burglary and robbery. He'd served sentences in both San Quentin and Folsom, and there was a warrant on him for violation of parole. The second suspect, Floyd Compton, white male American, 34 years, 5'8", 135 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. His record included arrests on suspicion of burglary, 4 grand theft merchandise, and 3 drunk arrests. He was a petty thief known to us as a shoplifter. He'd never served time in a penitentiary. 10:55 p.m. Frank and I, with identifying photographs of the two suspects, left the city and drove north. We checked in at the Lancaster Sheriff's Office substation. Captain Walker Hannon briefed us on the details of the arrest, and then he showed us back to the cell block where the two suspects were being held. He told us neither of the men had been questioned because the officers there weren't acquainted with the facts of the case. He also informed us both men had been separated from the time of their apprehension. Captain Hannon had Paul Mike taken from his cell, and he was brought to the captain's office where we started to question him. It went slow.
I don't think I understand you, Sergeant. What's all the excitement about?
You can answer that better than we can, Mike.
Answer what? What do you want to know?
The car, Mike, the blood stains.
What about them?
A little unusual, wouldn't you say?
I don't know anything about any blood stains. If they're in the car, I don't know how they got there. It isn't my car.
Yeah, we know that. What about the stains in your clothes?
Well, I don't know. They were sitting in the car there. Maybe the stains rubbed off on us. You got a cigarette?
Only one thing wrong with that story, Mike. The stains were on the wrong side of you.
All right, so I had a fight. Got hit in the nose. What's that, a law against us?
I got a hunch, Mike.
Yeah?
You're lying. Where'd you get that car?
I told you where I got it. Me and Compton were bumming a ride on San Fernando Road. This spook came along in the maroon coupe and gave us a ride. A couple of miles this side of Lancaster, he stopped the car and got out. Said he'd be right back. Walked right out into the desert.
That right?
Yeah. Waited for him to come back. Waited a long time. Honked the horn, yelled for him. We finally gave it up. Matter of fact, Compton and me got a little scared. Thought maybe the car was stolen. I didn't want to get caught in a hot car. I'm an ex-con. I couldn't stand the heat. The truth, I'm squaring with you.
What about the money, Mike?
Huh?
The money. They booked you in with $133 in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. I got lucky in a crap game last night. I was pulling out.
How about the pocket knife? Blood stains on it? You win that in the crap game, too?
No, matter of fact, it was in the car. I found it right there on the seat.
Big coincidence, Mike. Somebody leaves you a car, blood stains on the inside, stains on you and your partner. Pocket knife, stains on that, too. You're on parole, leaving town without notice, driving a car you're not supposed to be driving, pocket full of money you got no way of accounting for. Face it, Mike.
What do you mean?
Face it, you're dead. Flag on your card now. Parole officer wants you. Now, how about the truth?
What do you mean the truth? I've told it to
All right,
you.
now, come on. Let's save time for all of us, Mike. You've been around long enough. You graduated. You know we're not going to buy that line.
What line? How can I explain things to you? You won't believe me. I told you nothing but the truth since I walked into this room, and you won't believe me. You got a cigarette?
How do you account for the blood in your shirt?
I told you I had a fight. Guy hit me in the nose. Happened right down there in L.A. You can check it.
Where did it happen?
Bar, downtown.
There's a lot of bars downtown.
Well, place on South Pierce. I go there sometimes.
What's the name of it?
797 Club. Ask anybody in there.
You said it happened tonight?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock. Just before we cut out. Guy hit me right on the nose. Real rough one. You got a cigarette?
What time did you say you had that fight?
About 8 o'clock.
I'm sure of that.
Sure, why?
You're not doing too well, Mike.
Now what's the matter?
We were at the 797 Club tonight. We talked to the owner.
So what?
We were there at 6:35. He locked the place up and went home at 6:45. He was sick.
797 Club?
Yeah, that's right. Now, where were you at the time of the robbery?
I want an attorney. I'm not saying anything else, trying to frame me. Take me back to my cell.
Any way you want it, Mike. Let's go.
What's the use? Tell them the truth and they don't believe you. How about that cigarette?
Captain, would you have the jailer return this one and bring in something? How about that? He couldn't tell the truth if it helped him. Hope we do better with his partner.
Well, we're going to have to. We know we're on the right track. The big question is, what have they done with Gorman?
Big guess. 1,000 places they could have dumped him between here and L.A.
Well, I hate to make book on his chances. Everything points to a killing, doesn't it?
Mike looks like the one who could handle it.
Come on in, Tom. And over here. Sit down.
Yeah.
My name's Friday. This is Smith, my partner.
Hi.
Branched out of your class, haven't you, Compton? Running in the big time here?
What do you mean? We haven't done anything.
Robbery, kidnapping, grand theft auto. You're moving pretty fast.
Didn't Mike tell you? This guy gave us a ride. He stopped the car and walked away. We didn't steal the car. Thought the guy was lost. He drove in here to get help.
Let's take it from the top. Where'd you spend the day? Who were you with?
Mike. He stayed overnight with me. Both slept till about 2 o'clock, got something to eat, and went to his show. Got out about 5.
What'd you do then?
Went to this bar downtown. Didn't Mike tell you?
You were with him, weren't you?
Sure, I was with him. He'll tell you that.
He did. And you didn't do anything wrong, did you?
No.
Then what are you worrying about? Let's forget Mike now. You level with us, will you?
You're getting it straight. I didn't do anything.
Mike says he can't stand another beef. Can't afford it. He's 2 up right now.
I know that.
Well, we believe him, Compton. Mike's done too much time. He couldn't make another trip easy. We think he's telling us the truth.
Well, so am I. What are you getting at anyway?
All right, now let's get on the bandwagon while you can. We don't need you, Compton. If you talk or not, it doesn't make any difference.
Just a minute. Can I talk to Mike?
All right, we'll give it a try. Frank, you want to ask him?
Yeah, okay. Be right back.
Now, let's pick up where we left off. The blood stains on your clothes, stains inside the car. Where'd they come from?
Mike told you, didn't he?
Yeah, you tell us.
What for? Why can't I wait till Mike gets here?
All right, what about the money? You want to explain about that?
Nothing to explain. I saved it.
What kind of work do you do?
Odd jobs around town, any place I can find them.
You say you got up at 2, you had something to eat, you went to a show, and you got out about 5 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
When'd you go to the 797 Club?
Right after the show, about 5 o'clock.
How long did you stay there?
About an hour, till about 6 o'clock.
Anything unusual happen while you were in the bar?
What do you mean?
Anything unusual, anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, Mike and me sat there, talked, had some drinks. Pretty dead place. Decided to take off for Reno. Mike's got a friend up there, good friend. Thought maybe he'd get the both of us jobs.
Compton?
Yeah? Where's Mike?
I told him you wanted to talk to him. He said he didn't want to see you. He took him out to feed him. Told me to tell you he'd see you in court.
What do you mean, see me in court?
I think you got it, Compton. We told you we didn't need you. Come on, we're tired. We're going to lock you up.
What'd he say? What'd he tell you?
Now, look, fella, we're tired. You wanted to go the hard way. All right, you'll get the answers in court.
Well, what did he say? What'd he tell you?
Come on, let's go. You should have known better. Mike's not going to ride your beef for you.
He was in it all the way. It's his idea and it's his beef, not mine. I argued with him. I know he shouldn't have gone along crazy.
Yeah, come on.
It's the truth. The whole thing's Mike's. It's his knife, too. Met the guy in some bar, and he was real high, talking about some dame he was looking for, a girlfriend. Guy bought us a couple of drinks, had a big roll of bills. Mike framed the whole thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, he wanted to roll the guy. He left, got in the guy's car, and drove with him away toward town. Mike was driving. I didn't know where he was heading for. All of a sudden, the guy says he wants another drink. Mike didn't want to stop, but he was making a racket. Finally pulled up by the 797 Club. We got out. Then the guy changes his mind. He wants to go home. Mike tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen. Mike pulled a knife and cut him. Then he slugged the guy, and the two of us pushed him in the car and took off.
Where'd you go from there?
We cruised around till we found another car, maroon coupe. We clouded that one, dumped the gray sedan, and took off up this way.
That's right.
Look, it's the truth. I'll even tell you about the guy. What happened to him? You got flashlights in your car?
The man's still alive?
I don't know. He was when we left him.
1:45 a.m. The Lancaster Sheriff Substation contacted the local emergency ambulance, and they were instructed to follow our car. Along with the suspect, Floyd Compton, Frank and I got in the car and headed south, following his directions. After several tries at locating the spot where Mike and Compton supposedly left their victim, we finally found where they'd parked their car on the side of the road. We got out, and Compton led us back across a stretch of sand to a thick clump of sagebrush about 300 yards off the highway. The victim, Kenneth Gorman, was lying face down. His hands and feet were tied together. It was fairly evident that he'd lost a good deal of blood and that he was in a state of severe shock. He was placed on a stretcher and placed in the ambulance.
All right, Compton, that's it. Let's go.
Be real tough. Sure glad he ain't dead.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Where are we going now?
Back to the sheriff's office. Want to take your statement.
Okay with me. There's one thing I want. One more thing.
Yeah?
That lousy Mike. I want to be there. I want to see him.
How's that?
Trying to load this thing on me. I want to see his face when you tell him. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, neither can we.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 12th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, once again, I'd like to ask you to compare Fatima with the king-size cigarette you're now smoking. When you do, I'm convinced that you'll agree that king-size Fatimas do give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, Fatima in the bright sunny yellow pack. And remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Paul Mike and his accomplice, Floyd Compton, were filed on for violation of Section 209 of the Penal Code, kidnapping for the purpose of robbery, and Section 211 of the Penal Code, robbery in the first degree. They were also filed on for one count of grand theft auto. They were tried and convicted and received sentences as prescribed by law. Kidnapping for the purpose of robbery, where bodily harm is inflicted, is punishable by the death sentence or life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life. Grand theft auto is punishable by a prison term of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. The victim, Kenneth Gorman, finally recovered after more than 3 months in the hospital.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Dragnet presents a trilogy. 3 documented case histories of vital importance to all of us. This trio of authentic stories is both tragic and terrifying. Please try to hear Dragnet next week when we present our trilogy.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Sam Edwards. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Adventure is yours tonight with Counter Spy on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're an investigating sergeant. You're assigned to Traffic Division, AID. Death and tragedy is forecast for the people of your city. You don't know who the victims will be. You don't know how many there will be. Your job? Try and stop it. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, July 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of Traffic Division, accident investigation. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Deputy Chief Caldwell. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the scene of the accident, and it was 9:42 p.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, second floor, treatment room 5.
Joe?
Hi. How's it going?
Not too good.
How are they?
Bad, all 4 of them. Girl who was riding in the front seat, both legs crushed.
Oh, no.
Talking to Doc Hall, nothing you can do. Gonna have to amputate.
That's a shame. All the parents been notified?
Yeah, they're on their way down now. Cigarette?
Yeah, thanks.
I got a match.
All right, thank you.
Still touch and go with the kid who was driving, the wheeler boy. Doc doesn't give him much of a chance.
Possible to get a statement from him?
No, still unconscious. They get pictures of the wreck, all right?
Yeah, they did. The car the kids were in laid down 207 feet of skid marks. From the condition of the car, it's a wonder any of them are alive. Not a straight piece of metal in the wreck frame. How about that couple in the sedan they sideswiped?
Doctors and sure both have internal injuries. Woman's right leg is fractured. Man has a possible concussion. Lousy thing.
Every one of them's old enough to know better. What made them think they could get away with it? Oh, hi, Doctor.
Friday?
Any change, Doc?
Which one you mean?
The Wheeler boy?
No, it's still the same. The other 3 kids are doing a little better. It's a shame. None of them are more than 14, 15 years old, aren't they?
Both the girls are 13. Wheeler boy's 16, the other boy's 12.
Yeah. Pretty young to be out alone burning up the streets. How'd it happen?
Well, one of the girls told us that the Wheeler boy picked up the 3 of them about 8 o'clock tonight. Asked them if they wanted to go for a ride in his father's new car. Well, they thought they were going down to the neighborhood drive-in for a Coke.
Yeah.
Well, the girl said they drove around the neighborhood for a while. Wheeler boy was bragging about what a good driver he was, how fast the car'd go. Kept telling the kids that he could drive as fast as his father did.
Yeah. Well, I hear it's too bad you can't hold the father.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious he didn't set much of an example. Well, the girl told us that the Wheeler boy drove down the highway. She spotted a police car behind him and told the Wheeler kid to slow up. He said something like, "My father outran a cop the other day. If he can do it, I know I can." Well, the kids pleaded with him to pull over and stop, and he wouldn't listen. Told him to shut up and hang on, that he'd show him some real fancy driving.
Had to chase him more than 19 miles, Doc. Car in pursuit radioed in for help. We tried to block off the intersections ahead of them. They were just going too fast.
How'd the boy crack out?
Sideswiped the sedan with that old couple in it. Lost control of the car, went into a skid. The car hit the curb, blew a tire, piled head-on into a parked truck. The impact drove the engine of the truck right back into the cab. I never saw anything like it. The car the kids were in is almost broken in half.
Well, I've done everything I can for him. I'll keep the Wheeler boy in the critical room. Nurse is in there with him now. I'll move the other 3 back into the ward.
We want to make our report, Doc. You got an empty slip on it?
Yeah, I just finished it. It's right in here.
Thank you.
You know, I got a 16-year-old boy, Friday. Every time I make one of these things out, I say a prayer.
Yeah.
Hope they never have to make one out for my boy. Well, excuse me. I better go back in there and check on that youngster.
All right, Doc. Thanks.
Look at this MT, Frank. Everything in the book.
What's that?
Listen. Grace Andrews, 13 years, occupation student. Fractured jaw, teeth knocked out, facial cuts, internal injuries, crushed pelvis, and shock. Here's the next one. Nancy Haynes, 13 years, occupation student. Deep facial cuts, compound fractures of the right and left legs, crushed chest, possible concussion and shock. The other boy, Walter Stewart, 12 years, occupation student. Deep facial cuts and contusions, shock and possible concussion. Fractured ribs, possible puncture of the left lung, left hand severed above the knuckles. Here's the slip on the Wheeler boy. Charles Wheeler, 16 years, occupation student. Crushed forehead, possible spinal fracture, both legs broken. Fractured ribs, broken pelvis, deep facial cuts, severe internal injuries, and shock.
My name's Wheeler. Where's my boy? What have they done with him?
All right, take it easy, Mr. Wheeler. Doctor will be out in a minute.
I don't want the doctor. I want to see my boy. Where is he? What happened anyway?
Would you keep your voice down, please? The doctor will see you in a minute. He's with your son now.
Who are you? What do you know about it?
Police officers. Your boy had an accident. We're investigating.
I know he had an accident. They already told me that. Whose fault was it? Who ran into him?
Nobody ran into him, Mr. Wheeler. The accident was his fault.
What do you mean it couldn't have been? That boy's a good driver. I taught him myself.
Would you keep your voice down, please?
I want to get to the bottom of this thing. I want to see my boy. What are you stalling me for?
Nobody's stalling you, sir. You can see your boy as soon as the doctor okays it.
I'm going to take him to my own doctor. I wouldn't trust my boy in a place like this. Who ordered him here anyway?
We did. It was an emergency. The ambulance took him here from the scene of the accident.
Well, you still haven't told me how it happened. Now, why do you say it was his fault? Why are you accusing him?
It was his fault, Mr. Wheeler. There's no doubt about it. He was speeding, and a police car tried to catch him. He tried to outrun him. In the process, he ran into a parked truck.
I knew it wasn't his fault.
Sir?
So he was going a little too fast. Charlie's a good driver. Why'd you have to chase him? Probably the cause of the whole thing. You're the ones to blame.
All right, take it easy, Mr. Wheeler.
Take it easy, nothing. Why couldn't you let the kid alone? He can drive as well as I can. Think I'd let the kid have my new car if he couldn't handle it?
What about a driver's license, sir? Your son have one?
Well, no, I didn't have a chance to get him one. Too busy to take him down there for the test. It's a stupid thing anyway. Any moron can pass it. The point is, you didn't have to chase him. He wasn't hurting anybody, was he? I taught him how to drive. He drives just like I do. He's a fast driver, but he's a good one. I ought to know.
Our radio cars had to chase your boy 19 miles, Mr. Wheeler. 11 cars chased him. Your boy was endangering the life of everybody on that highway. In a 25-mile-an-hour zone, he was clocked at better than 70 miles an hour. At one time, we figure he must have been doing better than 90. He went through a dozen boulevard stops. He barely missed a woman pedestrian. The woman had a baby in her arms. Just before he cracked up, he sideswiped another car, an old couple in it. They're in this hospital, too, and they're hurt. They're hurt bad. Now, you go ahead inside and make those two old people believe your son's a good driver, that he's just having some innocent fun, will you?
It's not all his fault. He probably wouldn't have done it if you didn't chase him. I know my boy can handle a car. I've raced cops myself once in a while. Charlie was with me. He's cool. He knows what he's doing behind the wheel. Just because you drive fast doesn't make you a bad driver.
It helps.
Frank? Yeah, Doc. You spare a minute?
Sure. What is it?
This This is Mr. Wheeler, father of the boy who was driving the car. This is Dr. Hall.
Where's Charlie? I want to see him.
I'm sorry, sir. You'll have to wait a few minutes. He's lost a lot of blood. They're getting him another transfusion.
What's the matter with him? How bad is he hurt?
There's a report. Read it yourself.
What kind of treatment you giving him? You sure you know what you're doing?
I think so. I've been on this job for 11 years. That's how long I've been dealing with fools like you.
What?
I heard you ranting and raving out here at these offices. Well, let me tell you this, mister. All three of you were wrong. That boy of yours lying in there isn't to blame. You are, his own father. You were driving that car tonight. I heard you ranting out here. You taught him how to drive. He can drive as well as you can. He's cool. He knows how to handle a car. You taught him how to race cops. Well, the results are inside, Mr. Wheeler.
Look here, I don't want any sermons from you. I want to see my boy. I want to see him right now.
You're not going to get any sermons from me. They wouldn't help you. But I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. I've seen your kind for years. I've sewed them up, I've patched them up, and I've pulled a sheet over their face. So far, you're lucky it hasn't happened to you. You're on borrowed time. Must be true what they say. The good Lord takes care of the fools and the drunks. Well, I can tell you now I wouldn't feel half as bad if it was you inside there on that bed instead of your son. Oh, when are people like you going to learn? When are you going to learn?
I came down here to see my son. You're not impressing me a bit.
Well, then maybe you ought to come down here some weekend, some holiday. Maybe that'd impress you. You stand inside that treatment room with me and watch them come over that table. A lot of them come in married and go out widowed, all kinds, all ages. They pull them out of the wrecks and they drag them in here and they expect miracles from us. They're battered and broken, and some of them you have to look twice because it's hard to tell they're human beings. You know who's responsible, Mr. Wheeler? You know who? Arrogant, egotistical, good, fast drivers like you. Well, I'm sick of you, Mr. Wheeler. I'm sick of the whole rotten, stupid mess. I'm sick of fools like you.
Dr. Hall?
Yeah.
See you a moment, please.
Yeah, all right.
Sure makes himself out an expert, doesn't he? He preach to everybody who comes in here?
No, matter of fact, he's usually pretty quiet.
Well, what's the matter with him? Get out of the wrong side of bed?
Maybe this will explain it. He's got a 16-year-old boy of his own.
Well, what's he beefing about? It's my kid that's hurt, not his.
Every kid he treats is his.
Mr. Wheeler.
Is it all right? Can I see Charlie now?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm sorry about everything, Doctor. I really am. I'm sorry.
So am I, Mr. Wheeler. The boy's dead.
When George Wheeler recovered from the initial shock of his son's death, we told him it was necessary that the body be removed to the county morgue where an autopsy would be performed the following day. After that, his son's remains would be available to a mortuary of the family's choosing. Frank and I drove back to the office where we filed a 311 dead body report on 16-year-old Charles Wheeler. After that, we called the coroner's office and notified them to pick up the body at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. 10:35 p.m. We left the traffic division garage and went back on the air. We were cruising the central area. 10:53 p.m. We got the call. Aliso and Spring, ambulance follow-up, victim of a hit-and-run driver. We were within a block of the call.
Must be it up ahead, Joe, on the corner?
Oh, yeah. You can pull up any place right here, I guess. Mm-hmm. All right, come on. Slide out my side, huh?
Yeah. Let it through, please. Police officers, excuse me.
Pardon me. I wonder if I can get through here, please. Excuse us.
Doctor? You fellas doctors?
No, we're police officers.
Oh, yeah, I see. Where's the ambulance? Be here in a minute. How'd it happen? The old man was trying to cross the street. A bus hit him. Oh, look at him. Terrible, poor old guy. You work around here? Yeah, I sell papers right over in that corner over there. My name's Harry Johansson. You want me for a witness?
Frank, get his name and address, will you? I'll check the old man.
Yeah, right.
All right, now don't move around, Dad. Don't try to get up. The ambulance will be here in a minute.
I'm hurt. Bad. Terrible pain in my back.
Your legs hurt you, Dad?
No, I don't feel a thing in my legs. It's just my back. I got a terrible pain.
What's your name?
Clyde Logan.
Where do you live, Dad?
Over there, just up in the corner. Apartment 37. Could you go over and see Lona, see if she's all right? She's going to be awful worried.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. You been drinking, Dad?
Well, just a nightcap. The doctor said I ought to have a glass of port every night. I was just on my way home when it happened. Oh, my back.
You sure it was just a glass of port, Dad?
Yeah, that's right. I never touch anything but that glass of port before I go to bed. So would you please send somebody to see about Lil, apartment 37? She's going to be awful worried.
Yes, sir. We'll take care of it.
Oh, this feels terrible. I got to get up. Help me up, will you, officer?
All right. You sure you feel up to it, Dad?
I don't know. It's an awful pain in my back. I know I'm not supposed to move till the ambulance gets here, but maybe it'll go away if I stand up.
All right, sir.
Here you go.
Frank,
See you in a minute.
Yeah.
Cancel the ambulance, will you? We don't need it. Cancel it. Call the wagon.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to get help, Sergeant. Are they coming for me?
Yeah, you're going to get help, Dad. It's on the way.
I come to the corner here and I started to cross over. And what do you think? Right out of nowhere, this big red bus come up the street. Must have been going 60. Hit me and kept right on going. I thought for a minute there I was gone for sure.
Did you say it was a big red bus?
It's red or blue. What's the difference? They run me down. Oh, look at that. You get the ambulance quick. Look at that.
What's that?
My shirt front here. Look, it's all red. It's blood. Get some help. I'm bleeding to death. Get some help. Oh, there's a sharp pain in my ribs.
Let's take your coat off here. That's the idea.
That's better. The pain's gone now.
Well, I don't know what your blood type is, Dad, but you're bleeding port wine.
Oh, no.
Worse than I thought it was, Dad. You broke your bottle of port.
It's all wrapped up in papers, too. It's a wonder how it happened. Just look at my brand new shirt, all that good wine.
Joe? No, I canceled the ambulance, called communications for the wagon. What's the story?
Say, would you please send somebody up to my place to see Leona? It's apartment 37, building right up in the corner. Please look after Leona.
Yeah, we'll tell her, Dad.
Oh, say, when you see her, would you please give her this?
What's this?
Piece of liver. Leona just loves liver.
I didn't know you were married, Clyde. When did that happen?
I'm not married.
Well, then who's Leona?
That's my cat, the best friend I got in the world. Hey, where's the ambulance?
No, it's not going to be in the ambulance, Dad. We got a car coming instead.
Listen, I'm a sick man, Sergeant. I need an ambulance.
You're a hit-and-run victim every time you get enough port wine, Dad.
I don't know what you mean. It's a glass of port every night. That's all I ever take.
What time do you think it is now?
Time? I don't know. I went over to Jack. It's about 8 o'clock. Must be 8:15, 8:30. Why?
It's 10 minutes past 11, Dad. You're overdue.
I don't get it, Joe. What's the pitch?
Don't you know him?
No, I don't think so.
Clyde Logan. Got an arrest sheet as long as your arm. Somebody down at Central tagged him with the name Hit and Run Logan. He's a town character.
Well, what's the idea of the hit and run story?
Oh, he likes attention. Every time he gets loaded, he likes to ride in an ambulance with a siren wide open, so he lays down in the street, pretends he's been hit.
I see.
Every city's got at least one of them, I guess. Some of them turn in fire alarms. Some of them confess to murder. Some of them just beat their wives. Clyde likes to be a hit and run victim.
See, what are you going to do? You're going to lock me up?
No choice, Dad.
I suppose not. Say, would you talk to the jailer and see if I could get my old job back? I mean, you know, anything in the kitchen. I like to work in the kitchen.
Yeah, all right, we'll talk to him.
And now, just one more thing.
Yeah?
Would you go see Jackie Martin for me? Place right up the street there. You know, you see the sign there?
Yeah,
Jackie's old-time wine shop. That's the place. Well, you go in there and you ask for Jackie. You tell him that I sent you. See, you can say that he's not going to get any more of my business. You tell him I won't even pay him what I owe him.
Well, what's the matter, Dad? Why are you mad at him?
Well, I got good enough reason. All the trade that I've given him and all the money I spent there, a double-crosser. He can't keep customers that way, and he'll find that out.
What do you mean, Dad?
Well, look, right here on the sidewalk.
Yeah?
Jackie Martin, him and his cheap bottles.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day. Yes, more smokers coast to coast are finding that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, here's the practical way to prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, more and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas.
Compare them yourself. King-size Fatima, extra mild and soothing, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Thursday, July 3rd, 11:30 p.m. There was still half an hour to go before the July 4th weekend even started. But in the last 7.5 hours, Central Traffic had answered 13 major accident calls. 4 of them were fatalities. If it was any indication of the next 72 hours, the 4th of July weekend was due to spell death and tragedy for more people than we figured. 12:10 a.m., we received another ambulance follow-up call, this time at 11th and Georgia. A young couple on a motorcycle trying to beat the stop signal had crashed headlong into the side of an eastbound bus. One was taken to the hospital, one was taken to the county morgue. 12:20 a.m. After taking care of the necessary reports, we impounded the motorcycle. The next half hour was fairly quiet. 12:55 a.m., we went off the air and stopped to have a cup of coffee. 1:15 a.m., we called back in service. We continued cruising the central area. At 1:48 a.m., 12 minutes before quitting time, we got a call for Wilshire and Toberman Street, an ambulance follow-up, city property damage, motor officer. 1:15 a.m., we arrived at the scene. Approximately 20 feet from the southwest corner, a police motorcycle was sprawled on the street. The front of it was demolished. About 30 feet from the motorcycle, lying face down on the street, was the figure of a man in a police uniform.
All right, would you step back, please? Up on the...
Please, everybody, back up there on the sidewalk, please.
Help me. Please.
All right, don't try to move, fella.
It's Brian.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. Mike?
Tried to miss it. Couldn't help it.
Take it easy now. Don't try to talk.
Ambulance is on the way, Mike.
Don't kid me, Joe. My chest hurts. Hey, unbuck my collar. Can't breathe.
Yeah, all right, sure, Mike. Come on, take it easy now. Don't move.
Chasing this car. Cream convertible. Man, woman. I think he was 502. Big chase. Red light. Sorry.
All right, now take it easy, Mike. Relax.
Other car turned right in front of me. I saw it. Nothing I could do. Couldn't stop. Turned right in front of me. Evelyn. Gonna go see her. Evelyn. She's waiting.
All right, will you take it easy, Mike? Don't talk and don't move. This will work out all right. Take it easy.
Joe. Evelyn. Joe.
Mike.
Joe, got a coat here. Slip it under his head. It'll be more comfortable.
No, he doesn't need it, Frank. He's comfortable. 1:57 a.m. The ambulance arrived, and O'Brien's body was removed to the county morgue. Photographs were taken, diagrams were drawn, and statements taken from the witnesses. A truck from Central Garage arrived and started removing the dead officer's motorcycle. Frank and I went over and started interviewing the driver of the car, which O'Brien had collided with. She identified herself as Corrine Norton, a bookkeeper at a South Los Angeles defense plant.
I was making a left turn, that's all. Next thing I knew, he hit my car. You can see what he did to it. Who's going to pay for the damage?
We can talk about that later, Miss Norton. Our first concern is we'd like to find out what happened.
Well, there's nothing to it. I already told you. This cop ran into me. There wasn't anything I could do.
Well, would you start from the beginning, please, and tell us exactly what happened?
From the beginning of what? I told you. You ran into my car. What more do you want to know? Sorry it happened, but I couldn't help it. Look at my car. How am I going to get to work in the morning?
Will you please tell us what happened here, miss? Just as near as you can remember.
Well, I was going down this way on Wilshire on my way home. I started to make a left turn onto Toberman, and this cop on the motorcycle drove right into me. Wasn't anything I could do. His fault. I couldn't help it.
Could we see your operator's license, please?
Certainly. Let's see. There's someplace. Yeah, here it is.
All right, do you want to read it off, Frank?
Yeah. California operator's license number B208-927.
Okay, got it.
Corrine, C-O-R-I-N-N-E-M, Norton. 10,033 Ruth Ellen, Los Angeles.
10,033?
Right. Female, 5'3.5", 123 pounds. Born February 18th, 1909. Blue eyes, brown hair. Must wear adequate glasses.
Just a minute. Okay.
You have your glasses with you, Miss Norton?
Well, yes, right here in my purse. I really don't have to wear them. I can see just as well without them.
Were you wearing your glasses at the time of the accident?
Yes, I was. I took them off right after the accident. Here they are, right here in my purse. See?
Miss Norton, we understand the motorcycle officer had his red light and siren in operation at the time of this accident. Did you see it or hear it?
No, I didn't hear any siren, and I certainly didn't see any red light.
Then when's the first time you saw the officer, ma'am?
When he hit me. Seemed to come out of nowhere. He was going very fast.
You say you were in the process of making a left turn. Is that right, Miss Norton? Did you give a hand signal indicating that you were going to turn?
Of course I did. I always do.
You touched your car since the accident.
What do you mean if I touched it?
Was your car just like it was when you were driving it prior to the accident?
Yes, I suppose it is. I mean, with the exception of the damage he did.
You sure you gave a hand signal, Miss Norton?
Of course I am. What's this all about, anyway?
Well, if your car's exactly the way it was before the accident, and you're telling us the truth here, how do you account for the fact that the left-hand window of your car is still rolled up here?
What?
The window of the driver's side of your car there, it's closed tight. You couldn't have made a left-hand signal, now could you?
What? I don't understand it. I'm sure I made a signal. I think so, anyway. Are you trying to say I'm to blame for that cop's
We're
death?
not trying to say anything, ma'am. We're trying to get the facts here.
Well, you certainly have a funny way of doing it. What do you call facts, anyway? Trying to incriminate me in this thing? I was making a left turn and he ran into me. It's as simple as that. I don't know what you're so excited about.
The man just died, Miss Norton. We're trying to find out why.
Well, why ask me? I didn't kill him. Speeding along on a motorcycle like that. He shouldn't have been going that fast anyway.
That's his job, ma'am. That's what they pay him for. He was chasing a drunk driver.
All right, that's his job. He knew it was dangerous when he took it.
Yes, ma'am.
Part of his job, that's what we pay him for.
Well, he's dead, Miss Norton. Who's going to pay him for that? 2:15 a.m. A traffic car took Corrine Norton downtown to the station where her statement was to be taken and a further investigation made. Frank and I contacted Sergeant Joe Whitehead of the medical detail and informed him of Mike O'Brien's death. He told us he'd notify the business office and the parents of the dead officer. Because of our close association with O'Brien, we happened to know that he planned to get married July 15th, the first day of his vacation. The girl he was going to marry was an Evelyn Monroe. She lived in the Silver Lake district. We told Whitehead that we'd notify her. 2:30 p.m. Frank and I drove out Sunset Boulevard to the girl's house.
Oh, hi, Frank. Joe.
Oh,
Is Mike with you?
Well, no, he isn't, Evelyn.
Well, come on in. Have some coffee. I'm just waiting for Mike.
All right, thank you.
Guess Mike's a little late tonight. Come on in. How do you like your coffee? Cream and sugar?
Black will be all right, thanks. Both of us.
Look at the dining room table. Pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Nicest wedding present I think I've ever seen. Didn't know we had so many friends. You see what the boys in the motor squad sent us? Electric mixer, all the attachments, too.
Yeah, we see him. Very nice.
What's the matter, Joe? Hard day?
Yeah, it was. It was a tough one.
Oh, you're just like Mike. When he gets off work, he's grumpy as a bear. I don't know why. Nothing tough about your job. You ought to work for the man I work for. Coffee's coming right up.
Joe? Yeah. You're going to have to tell her I can't. Do me a favor.
Yeah, I'll try.
Here you are. I think you ought to like these donuts. I get them at the bakery down the street. Mike's crazy about them.
Would you sit down, Evelyn, please? I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, sure, Joe. You sound serious. What's the matter?
It's about Mike, Evelyn.
Mike? What about him?
Well, he wanted us to come by and see you. He was hurt tonight.
Oh, no. Was it bad?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
What happened? Where is he? Can I see him?
No, not now. A little later.
What happened? They told his mother and dad?
Yeah, Evelyn. Joe Whitehead's out there now.
Joe Whitehead, medical detail?
Yeah, that's right.
He usually doesn't go out right away unless they're dead. Joe? Joe, tell me the truth. What's happened to Mike? What's happened?
Well, he's dead, Evelyn.
No. It isn't the truth. He can't be dead.
He was chasing a drunk driver over on Wilshire. A woman turned in front of him. Couldn't get out of the way. Didn't have a chance to lay his bike down. Sorry.
It's not true. Can't be. It's not true. He called me at 11. He'll be here at any minute. He'll be here any minute. Mike.
Oh, Evelyn, please. There's nothing you can do. Nothing anyone can do. Crying would help. I'd cry with you.
But it's not right. It isn't right. Why should he die? Why should he?
I'm sorry. Went fast. He didn't suffer. Talked about you. The last thing was about you.
Hard to realize. I can't understand it. I can't. There's no reason for it.
No reason for a lot of it.
Why, Joe? Why did he have to die? Why did he?
Oh, I don't know. I got an idea, maybe, Evelyn.
Why?
Somebody forgot to put out their arm.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 2nd, an inquest was held at the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. The coroner's jury returned a verdict of excusable homicide in the death of motorcycle officer Michael O'Brien. In a moment, a word about another trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I know a lot of you listeners have taken my advice and switched to Fatima's. Now, if you haven't, How about comparing Fatima this weekend for sure? You see, Fatima quality stands out by comparison. And that's why I ask you to try Fatimas. Compare them with the king-size cigarette you've been smoking. You'll find Fatimas give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, king-size Fatimas in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Normally at this time, we give you the result or outcome of legal proceedings against a person or persons for criminal action. You've already heard the results of the documentary cases portrayed on Dragnet tonight. 4th of July weekend is at hand. 40 million automobiles will drive 5 billion miles. Please make every mile a safe mile. Be considerate of the other driver on the road and have a happy weekend. We don't want to read your name on Dragnet's trial page. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Stacey Harris, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Yes, adventure is yours tonight with Counter Spy on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A 25-year-old man is found hiding in a freight car in a deserted train yard. In his arms, he holds the body of a dead woman. The victim's identity is unknown. The suspect refuses to talk. Your job? Investigate. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 18th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Warman. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 10:38 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide detail.
Joe?
Hi. Did cop out to anything yet?
Nothing. I keep asking him questions. Might as well be talking to myself. He might be in a state of shock.
No, I don't think so.
You got anything on him from R&I?
No, he's clean. You and Stahl want to get over to the morgue, roll the dead woman's prints?
Yeah, sure. Maybe you'll have better luck with it. See you later.
Yeah, sure. Here's your driver's license, Gordon. Better put it back in your wallet. Gordon, put it back in your wallet. Now, look, son, I don't think you're helping yourself much by keeping quiet. There's a lot of explaining to be done here, and I'm afraid you're the only one who can do it. Gordon?
All right, son. It's just a matter of time. You're going to have to tell somebody sooner or later. Why won't you tell us now? Come on, what do you say? Well, look, son, I'll tell you the truth. I don't get the reasoning behind all this. We know there's nothing wrong with you. We know you can talk all right. You talked to the officers in the radio car who brought you in. You know as well as I do, you're going to have to explain what's happened here. You're going to have to explain that dead body. You want to get it over with now? Look, Gordon, if you didn't kill the woman, you haven't anything to worry about. And if you did, we're going to find out anyway. Who was the woman, Gordon? Will you tell me that much? What's her name? You know her very long? Did you know her very long? What was she to you? Do you want to tell me that? She's a fairly middle-aged woman in her early 50s, I'd say. Is that about right? Was she your mother, Gordon? Older sister, maybe? Any relation at all? What's the matter, son? You feeling sick? How about a cigarette? All right. Bother you if I smoke? I hope you haven't got the idea we're trying to trick you into anything, Gordon. We've got a dead woman on our hands here. We've got to find out why she's dead. Now, what do you say? No use looking up at the clock, son. We're stuck here till we find out about that woman. And that goes for both of us. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Jack. No, not right now. Ought to be back about half hour. Yeah, half hour. Right, I'll tell them to call. That's bye. I got an idea, Gordon. Might help you set your mind at ease. Now, number one, if you think we're out to build a frame against you on this thing, let me tell you that you're wrong, and I'll prove it to you, son. I'm going to tell you exactly what we know about this case, everything. And when I'm finished, maybe you can fill in the blank spots for us, huh? What's the matter, your headache? Some aspirin in my locker there if you want some. No? All right. Here's all we know about it. Now, one of our radio cars, 1A4, answered a call from the night watchman down in the freight yards. He told the officers that he'd spotted a man wandering around down at the far end of the train yards near the west gate. Watchman only saw him at a distance, but he said he could make out the man and that he saw that he had a woman with him. She must have either been sick or she had too much to drink because the man appeared to be dragging her along with him. The two of them disappeared behind a line of boxcars on the siding. When the watchman went out to look for the two people, he couldn't find them. Called the radio car, and when the officers got there, they started searching. I finally found you hiding back in the corner of an empty boxcar there. You were holding that dead woman in your arms. There wasn't anything the officers could see that might have caused the woman's death. There were no marks on the body, nothing visible anyway. When they tried to question you, all that you'd tell them was your name and that you didn't want to live, that you didn't care what happened to you. Now, that's about the size of it, Gordon. Did I leave anything out? Gordon? Oh, yeah. There was something else. From what we could gather, the dead woman had been doing some drinking before she died. Matter of fact, looks like she was a pretty heavy drinker. And another thing, we know you and the woman got into the train yard down by the west gate. We know that you dragged her body across the freight yards to that empty boxcar that they found you hiding in. The heel marks from her shoes lead from the sidewalk through the dirt directly to the door of that boxcar. We could see where you dragged her body from the door back to the corner of the car. Now, that's the whole story so far, Gordon. You want to fill in the rest? Son, how about it? Who is the woman? All right, look, how about these items we found in your pocket, Gordon? This address book here. Is this a woman's name in here? Or this handkerchief with a lipstick on it? Were you out with another girl tonight? Were you, son? If you were, it might help to tell us who she is. Do you hear me, son? How about this lady's ring you had in your pocket? Name Elizabeth engraved on the inside. Does that tie in at all, Gordon? Who's it belong to? Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Frank. You get an ident on her? Mm-hmm. HOFFMAN. 2 N? Right. You going out there now? Okay, take O'Donnell with you, huh? Right, let me hear from her. What? No, not yet. No. All right, bye. That was my partner, Gordon. The officer who was in here with you. They took the dead woman's fingerprints. They've got her identified, son. It's Elizabeth Hoffman, age 52 years, music teacher. Last known address, 5473 6th Avenue. They're on their way out there now to check it. All right, relax, Gordon. That window doesn't lead anywhere. Now, you want to take another look at this ring? You got a fair idea that it means something, Gordon. They examined the dead woman's hands. They know she was wearing a ring recently. Her name's Elizabeth Hoffman. Name Elizabeth engraved inside this ring. Now, look, boy, we're going to get the answer sooner or later. How about it? What were you doing with this ring in your pocket? Now, let me tell you something, young fella. I don't know what's bothering you, but whatever it is, we're going to find it out. Now, get it through your head. You're in a bad spot. If you're not interested in helping yourself, then neither am I. The monkey's on your back. You're going to have to help scratch it off. Now, get with it. What's it all about? All right. Let's have your driver's license. Come on, get it out. All right, I'll take it. Gordon John Miller, 2055 Malcolm Avenue, Los Angeles. Hello, information? If you have a phone listing for 2055 Malcolm Avenue, thank you. That's fine. 32192. Thanks a lot.
Put the phone down.
You ready to tell us?
No, I won't tell you.
All right, any way you want it, Gordon.
You can't call them. They can't. I won't let you. You can't call them.
All right, take it easy.
They can't tell you. They don't know. Give me the phone.
All right,
You
sit
can't.
down. I said sit down. If you won't answer the questions, we'll find somebody who will. Give me your wrist. Now, sit still. Now, the sooner you get it through your head you're not here on a traffic ticket, the better. You're going to stay cuffed to that chair till we're ready to book you. I'm sick of treating you like a baby.
They can't tell you. They don't understand. They can't tell you.
They can't be any worse than you. Now, sit still there. Hello, is this the Miller residence? 2055 Malcolm Avenue? My name's Friday, ma'am. Police Department, Central Homicide. Who's this speaking, please? I see. Miss Miller, are you related to a Gordon Miller? Your brother? Uh-huh. No, he's not hurt. There's nothing wrong with him. Ma'am? Yes, he's here. We're holding him. Wonder if you'd be kind enough to come down here to the City Hall. It's the City Hall, yes, ma'am. It's important. We'd like to talk to you. No, as soon as possible. Yeah. You can get in through the Main Street entrance. Main Street, M-A-I-N. It's room 4242 on the main floor. Just ask for Friday. That's my name. All right, thank you. Goodbye. It's your sister, Lillian. She's on her way down, Gordon.
It's not going to help. She doesn't know. None of them know.
Who's them? You mean your family?
You shouldn't have called. They don't know about it. They can't tell you. Why did you have to call?
You know why, Gordon. We gave you plenty of chance to tell us yourself. The answers have to come from somewhere.
What answers? What do you want me to say?
Homicide, Friday. What? How's that again? No, I'm afraid you have the wrong extension. You want vice detail. Just a minute. I'll have your call transferred. Yeah, would you give this call to 2607? Yeah, thank you.
I ask you. What do you want me to say? What do you want?
It's pretty simple, Gordon. Just tell us what happened tonight, will you?
She's dead, isn't she? Elizabeth?
Yes, that's right.
There's nothing else to say. I killed her.
Why did you kill her, son?
I'm not sure, really. I'm not. I think I felt sorry for her. I killed her, though. I know that much.
You murdered the woman, but you don't know why?
Yeah. I keep trying to remember. I can't. Doesn't seem real.
You've been drinking, Gordon?
Yeah. 2 or 3 days. We were going to have dinner tonight. We started drinking cocktails before. Quite a few. We never had dinner.
What do you mean by we?
The 2 of us. Elizabeth and I. Elizabeth Hoffman.
Where were you drinking?
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth. I keep trying to remember.
No marks on the body, Gordon. None we could see anyway. How'd you kill her?
I killed her. That's enough, isn't it? I murdered her. Please don't talk anymore.
I'm sorry, son. That's not even half the story. You admit you killed the woman. You won't tell us why. You won't tell us how.
They wouldn't let her alone. They kept hounding her. They drove her out of her mind.
Come on, son. Snap out of it. That's not going to help any. right, come on.
Yeah.
Now, what's it all about? What'd you have to do with it?
Known her for 10 years. She was my music teacher. Piano. Brilliant woman. Elizabeth was a real artist.
You've been taking piano lessons from her for 10 years, is that right?
Yes, sir. Elizabeth was arranging a concert tour for me. South America this fall. She said she was sure I'd be a success. I couldn't fail. Concerts in 8 cities, all over South America. We were going this fall. We were going to leave in August.
Mm-hmm. That have anything to do with her death?
I guess so, in a way. She did everything for me, and I had to kill her. Only one who believed in me. I can't tell you. Last 2 years, I didn't have any money to pay for my lessons. She didn't care. She even fed me, took care of me when I was sick once. She did everything for me.
You know, this is pretty hard to understand, son. She did everything for you, then why did you kill her?
What makes you think that's important? She's dead and I killed her. You always ask why. It's not important how she died.
It is to us. Now, how'd you kill her, Gordon? Why'd you take her body down to the freight yards?
Should have known Elizabeth when she was alive. You never met a woman like her. Just wonderful. Talent, she was brilliant, understanding. Great woman, warm. No one like her, Sergeant. Great human being.
She drank quite a bit, didn't she, Gordon?
Yes. She drank. Reason for it, though. Reason that way with a lot of brilliant people. They drink once in a while.
She drank more than that, didn't she?
She had a reason for it. Who are you to sit in judgment on her? Elizabeth was a brilliant artist, great woman. Great. One of the finest musicians in the country, a great woman.
She was a drunk and a bad drunk. Now, let's face it, son. You know that as well as I do.
You're a liar. She wasn't. You're a rotten liar.
6 drunk arrests in 14 months. That's what her card reads in the record bureau. Those are the only times we know of. Now, how many can you add to it?
She drank. She thought it was the only way out for her. Wasn't any other way.
Yeah, well, you're talking in circles here, Gordon. Get it straightened out, will you?
You want to know why Elizabeth drank? Go ask my family. They'll tell you. They'll tell you a lot of things if you want to believe it.
What can they tell me that you can't?
Nothing. But they'll try and pretend they know. Liars. I don't want any part of them. And they don't want any part of me.
Don't you live with your family now, Gordon?
I haven't seen them for a year. I don't want to see them.
Why not? Don't you get along with them? Your father and your mother?
My mother's dead. Died when I was 12. Just my father and my sister.
What's the matter? Don't you get along with them?
I just want them to let me alone, that's all. Just let me alone.
How about Elizabeth Hoffman? Your family know her pretty well?
Yeah, they know her. I didn't understand her, though. I really loved her. She loved me.
I don't think I follow you, son.
I knew you wouldn't understand. I was in love with Elizabeth. She was in love with me. We were going to get married.
You're 25 years old, Gordon. Is that right?
Yes.
Elizabeth Hoffman was 52. That's what our records show here.
What about it?
Well, 27 years difference. That's a little unusual, wouldn't you say?
What of it? Everything that's great is unusual. That's what makes it great. I loved her. Time didn't make any difference. A few years, what's that? I loved her more than any woman in the world. She meant everything. I didn't care if she drank. I didn't care if she was old. You don't stop being beautiful just because you grow old. Elizabeth was beautiful.
Well, the drinking didn't help her much.
I don't care about that. I'll still say it. She loved me and I loved her. Believe me, please, I loved her.
All right, I believe you, son. Let me ask you this.
Yes?
You say you respected her. She was talented. You were grateful to her. She was generous. She made sacrifices for you, did everything for you that she could. Is that right? She loved you and you loved her. You were going to marry her.
Yeah. This fall on the way to South America. Going to be married. What we always wanted. Elizabeth would have been so happy. So happy.
Yeah, well, then why did you kill her?
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
See you a minute?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Something I think you ought to know.
Yeah.
John and I checked the boarding house the Hoffman woman was staying at. Checked her room. It's clean. Everything in order.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Miller had the room next to hers. Shook his place down, too.
Anything?
His bags were all packed. Looked like he was ready to go. Something else?
Yeah.
On the kitchen sink, bottle of poison.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, more and more smokers coast to coast are switching to Fatima's every day. Fatima, the extra mild and soothing king-size cigarette. with the added protection of Fatima quality. Prove Fatima quality yourself today.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers now insist on king-size Fatima than ever before.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Switch to king-size Fatima today. Ask your dealer for the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Tuesday, January 18th, 11:55 p.m. My partner Frank Smith and I continued questioning the murder suspect, 25-year-old Gordon Miller. While he freely admitted to the murder of his music teacher and fiancée, 52-year-old Elizabeth Hoffman, we still were unable to get him to give us a good reason for the murder. Whenever we put the question to him, he either refused to answer or he was evasive. We got the same results when we questioned him about how he killed the Hoffman woman, where he killed her. 12:20 a.m. The interrogation went on.
But you ought to remember where you killed her, Gordon. You say the two of you left the rooming house, you stopped for some drinks, then you went for a walk. Where'd you walk?
Down Arlington Avenue. We kept walking, then we turned off. We walked for a long time.
Were you anywhere near the freight yards when you killed her? Can you remember that?
No, I don't know. Like a nightmare. There's so much of it, I guess I don't want to remember.
Then what's the last location you can recall, Gordon? I mean, before you found yourself in the freight yards.
Olympic Boulevard, I think. Someplace on Olympic. Kept walking and walking. I don't remember why.
You remember packing your suitcases before you left the boarding house?
Packing? Yeah, I think I do. Elizabeth and I talked about going away for a few days, someplace out of town. I think we're going to go tomorrow.
They checked both your rooms, Gordon, yours and Elizabeth Hoffman's. They found your bags packed, but there was nothing about her room that indicated she was going away. Everything was in order. Can you explain that?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't have time, hadn't gotten around to it. I guess you found the poison, too.
That's right.
I got it 2 days ago. We thought about it. We even wrote a letter explaining why we'd do it.
Yeah.
We didn't have the courage, though. Neither one of us. Talked about it and decided to forget it. I've told you everything. There isn't anything else to say.
Friday?
Yeah. Oh, all right, Jeff. Send her in, please. You're Lillian Miller, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
I don't want to see her. I don't want to see her.
She's your sister, Gordon. She wants to see you.
Please, keep her out. I'll keep her away.
Gordon?
My name's Friday, Miss Miller. Come on in, please. Have a chair, won't you?
Thank you. How are you, Gordon? Been such a long time. How have you been?
Chair, Miss Miller?
Thanks. Poor kid, what is it, Gordon? What's the trouble about? Honey, what is it? Won't you even look at me?
Get out of here. Let me alone. Get out.
Please, Gordon, don't. I'm here to help you, honey. They called me tonight. They said you're in trouble. What is it? Let me help you, please.
You can't help. She's dead. Now, will you go home? Elizabeth's dead. I killed her.
Merciful God, no.
Will you take her out of here, Sergeant? Tell her to go.
You don't know what you're saying, honey. He's not in his right mind, Sergeant. I know he isn't. Please, Gordon, you have to let us help you. I called Dad before I left. He's on his way here now. We'll get you a lawyer. Don't worry, honey. It'll be all right. Everything will be all right.
She's dead. Can you bring her back?
You couldn't have killed her, couldn't you?
Pounding her, torturing her. Why couldn't you let her alone? Why couldn't you let us alone?
We only did it for you, Gordon, and we thought it was best for you.
You fool, you fool.
Say anything you want, Gordon. I don't care, but let me help you, please. It doesn't count what I am. Just let me help you.
I'll get it. Okay, Jess, thanks. Henry Miller, the boy's father.
I don't want to see him in here. I don't know him. He's not my father.
All right, take it easy, Gordon.
Please, honey, try to understand. We only want to help.
Who's in charge here?
My name's Friday, Mr. Miller. This is my partner, Sergeant Smith.
The handcuffs on my son. Gordon, who did it? Who put them on you?
I did, Mr. Miller. The only way we could settle him down.
Taking quite a bit of authority in your hands, aren't you? Get them off of him right now. No reason to handcuff him.
Sorry, can't be done.
I said take them off. I have a little influence in this town. I'll see to it that the police commission hears about this. Now, what's my son doing here anyway?
It's the Hoffman woman, Dad, Elizabeth Hoffman.
What about her?
She's dead. Gordon says he killed her, Dad. We've got to do something.
Don't tell him anything, Gordon. Don't say a thing. I'll get a lawyer for you right away. I know what your rights are. Don't tell him anything.
Did you know Elizabeth Hoffman, Mr. Miller?
I knew her slightly. Can't see what this fuss is all about anyway. Woman wasn't any good to begin with. No good at all.
You ought to be glad I'm handcuffed to this chair. I never thought of hitting you before. I'd like to do it now.
Please, Gordon, don't say those things.
As far as I can remember, you've been nothing but trouble. Now, either you snap out of it this time or you're on your own. I'm sick of this. Police stations, trampy women keeping you out of jail. Either you start to realize who's boss in this family or there's going to be real trouble.
You'll find yourself out in the cold, you'll stay there.
Get him out of here. Get him out of my sight.
Please, Dad, he's not well. Try and understand.
Had enough, Gordon. I'll send a lawyer for you, that's all I'll do. If you make up your mind I'm boss, you can come home. If not, you can stay away. Now, figure it out for yourself. I don't care.
I hate you. I hope you never forget it. I hate you.
Dad.
I'll see you at home, Lillian. It's the maid's night out. Lock the door before you go to bed.
Please, Dad, we've got to help. Don't leave, Dad.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
Will you lock me up now? I'm tired.
All right, Gordon, just a minute. Frank, you want to stay with him?
Yeah, okay.
Miss Miller, you might step outside for a minute. Something I'd like to ask you.
Yes, all right. You'll let me see Gordon again?
Yes, ma'am. Come on this way. Now, look. About this Elizabeth Hoffman, Miss Miller. Did you know her at all?
I tried to talk to her. I even offered her money if she'd let Gordon alone. It wasn't any use. She'd been drinking. She wouldn't even listen. Kept saying she was going to marry Gordon.
Well, what's the big attraction, do you know? I mean, between your brother and that woman.
There's only one thing Gordon ever really wanted. He wasn't too interested in women, things like that. All he wanted was to be a musician, a great pianist. That's all he ever wanted. The sad part about it is he'll never make it. I think down deep he knows that. When he was a kid, Dad sent him to the finest teachers. After 6 months, they all said the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
He'd never make it. Oh, he could play well enough, but he certainly wasn't exceptional. He never improved. He just stayed the same. And he started taking lessons from Elizabeth. She convinced him he had a great talent, kept telling him she'd make a great pianist out of him. The last 3 years, she kept promising to take him on a tour, Europe, South America. It never happened. I think Gordon knew it never could happen.
I see. Can you think of any reason at all why he'd want to kill her?
There isn't any reason, none at all. Gordon didn't kill her. He couldn't kill anyone, I'm sure of it.
Well, I hope you're right, Miss Miller, for your brother's sake. Would you excuse me for a few minutes, please?
Yes, all right.
You wait here. You sit down if you want to. I'll be right back.
All right.
All set, Joe?
Yeah, in a minute. Gordon?
You ready to go?
I'd like to ask you one more question, son. I'd like to have you tell me the truth on this one.
Yeah?
What did you have in common with Elizabeth Hoffman? She was twice as old as you are. You gave up a lot for her. She didn't have any money. She was an alcoholic. What was the big attraction?
Why did I love Elizabeth? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
You tell me, Sergeant. Why do you love any woman? Why? Because you need him. You need him. You can't be alone. Nobody can be alone. I needed Elizabeth. That's why I loved her. There's only been 2 women in the world who understood me. One of them was Elizabeth. The other one was my mother. She died when I was 12. Now they're both dead. Both of them. Only ones who understood.
Yeah.
My father didn't understand. He never did. All he knows is business, making money, more money. That's why he hated Elizabeth. He was jealous. She understood me. She knew what I was like, knew all about me. When I was with Elizabeth, I was safe. I was happy close to her. There wasn't anything to be afraid of. I'd go to her just like my mother. I'd put my head on her shoulder and she'd put her arms around me. I wasn't frightened anymore. I was safe. Everything was all right, just like when I was a little kid in the night. I'd call out for my mother. She was always there. She'd put her arms around me and everything was safe. I wasn't afraid. I needed her. It was the same way I needed Elizabeth. Do you understand now? Now do you know why I loved her?
Yeah, I think I do. Only one question left. Why did you kill her?
I don't know. I really don't. Maybe I'll remember.
Look, Gordon, are you sure you killed her?
She died in my arms. I must have killed her. Tomorrow, maybe. Maybe I'll remember tomorrow. Is Lillian still here, my sister?
She's waiting outside.
Did you hear my father, what he said? Told her to be sure and lock the door?
Mm-hmm.
Just like my father. They don't have to lock that door. It's locked 13 years ago.
How do you mean?
It's locked the day my mother died.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 19th, an autopsy was performed at the county morgue, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that examination.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, recently I had the pleasure of taking part in a benefit in San Francisco. While I was there, I met and talked to a lot of smokers who told me that they'd switched to Fatimas. They'd found that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Well, now I'm convinced that you'll switch to Fatimas for the same reason. Get yourself a pack of Fatimas tomorrow and compare them. You'll find they give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatimas.
results of the autopsy performed on the body of Elizabeth Hoffman showed definitely that she had suffered from a chronic heart condition aggravated by excessive drinking. Cause of death was listed as myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle. Gordon Miller was released from custody and completely exonerated of the death of Elizabeth Hoffman. 18 months later, he took his own life.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Herb Ellis, Harry Bartell, Joyce McCluskey. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. George Fenneman speaking. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Attend the Republican Convention on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. 2 armed bandits hold up a restaurant in your city. The owner is slugged, beaten viciously. One of the bandits is shot. The other makes good his escape. Your job? Get him. Friends, the name Fatima has always stood for quality.
Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Switch to Fatima yourself today.
Ask your dealer for Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. King-size Fatima. The difference is quality.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, June 2nd. It was smoggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Diddy. My name's Friday. It was 7:53 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Oh, good morning, Joe.
Morning, Frank. What's doing?
Not too much. How was the weekend?
Oh, it was great. I hated to come back. It's sure nice up there.
Where'd you go? Same place?
Yeah, Lake Mary. You remember Don Camphouse up there, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
He said to say hello. Fishing's real great up there. You ought to try and make it next month or so if you can.
Fat chance.
Well, what's the matter?
The in-laws are loose again. They're coming down for a visit. Never stay less than a month. That'll take care of my vacation.
Oh, that's too bad. Why don't you say something to the wife?
What's the use? Why start an argument?
What do you mean? Well, what do we got here? Anything hot?
Yeah, this one here. Hold up and slugging, cafe down on South Hill. Radio car boys jumped and shot one of them. The other one got away.
We identified yet?
Yeah, the one who was shot, Benny Ashford. Record long as your arm. Graduate from Folsom. Some of them never learn.
How about the number 2 man?
Don't know. They tried to talk to this Ashford last night. He wouldn't tell them anything. I called the hospital just before you came in. They operated on the guy 6 o'clock this morning. You're going to call as soon as he's able to talk. It's going to be a couple days at least.
Mm-hmm. How much they get?
Here's a crime report.
Thank you. You talked to victims yet?
No, not yet.
It's a fair night's work, isn't it? $805 in cash, man's diamond signet ring, estimated value of $1,500. 17 stitches in the victim's scalp, slug with a revolver, huh? Must have meant business.
Lousy thing. They didn't have to slug him. He couldn't put up much of a fight anyway, 68 years old.
No other witnesses, huh?
No.
Just the owner, his wife, the bartender?
That's all they have listed, yeah.
You phone the victims yet?
No, just right when you came in. 2 phone numbers for them. They're both listed there.
Yeah, I see. Why don't you finish up with the day book here and I'll give them a call, all right?
Okay, fine.
Here, you want a pencil?
Oh,
Hello, this is Friday, Los Angeles Police Department Central Robbery. Mr. and Mrs. Reiner there, please? Neither one of them, huh? Well, how about the bartender? Is he there? 6 o'clock, I see. No, that's all right. I got their home phone. Yeah, thank you very much. Nobody there.
Try the other number?
Yeah. Hello, is this the Reiner residence? Yeah, well, this is Friday, LAPD Central Robbery. Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Reiner. Well, I just called the restaurant trying to get a hold of you. How's Mr. Reiner this morning? I see. I wonder if it'd be possible if my partner and I could drop out and see you this morning. No, your case has been assigned to us. Yes, ma'am. Well, how about 10 o'clock? That'd be convenient for you? All right, fine. Yes, right away. Thank you very much. Bye. I got it set up, Mr. and Ms. Reiner.
Yeah?
10 o'clock this morning out at their home.
How's the old man feeling?
My wife says pretty rough. He lost quite a bit of blood. Big shock for an old man.
It's too bad.
She says he's still pretty hazy, but we can talk to him. One thing he remembers pretty well, though.
Yeah?
The face of the man who slugged him. 8:20 a.m. We finished making up the day book, and then we went over to the main jail to interview 2 other robbery suspects who'd been booked in over the weekend. We completed our 510 reports on them, and then we got in the car and drove out to the Westchester district to talk to the victims of the cafe holdup the night before, Mr. and Mrs. William Reiner. 9:55 a.m. We arrived at the Reiner home, and a small, gray-haired woman answered the door and asked us in. She identified herself as Mrs. Reiner.
Come right into the living room, officer, and make yourselves to home.
Thank you. You go ahead,
I hope you'll excuse the way the house looks. Everything's all upset. I haven't had a chance to do any picking up.
It's perfectly all right, ma'am. We understand.
I was up with my husband half the night. Head hurt him something terrible. It was almost 6 in the morning before he got to sleep. I hope this is enough to make up his mind for him.
How do you mean, Mrs. Reiner?
About selling the place. I've been after him for months to get rid of it. Business like that's for younger people. We're getting too old to keep it up. Besides, the doctor's been telling William he needs more rest, less worry.
I see. Well, how's your husband feeling now, ma'am?
Oh, not so well. He lost so much blood and his head's so sore. He's taking a nap right now. I expect he'll be awake in a few minutes. That's all right with you, isn't it, officer?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly all right. We'd like to go over the thing with you anyway. Might possibly be something that you forgot to mention to the officers last night.
Well, I told them everything. I'm sure I did.
Maybe some of the details, Mrs. Reiner. Maybe some little thing that didn't seem important to you could mean a good deal to us.
Well, I don't know. I thought I told them everything. Where do you want me to start?
Well, when did you first notice the 2 hold-up men, Miss Reiner?
When they come out of the back room. I guess they'd been hiding there.
You noticed them earlier in the evening? I mean, were they customers in your place?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think so.
Where were they served? Was it in the restaurant or were they in the bar?
Well, there again, I'm not positive, but I think it was in the bar. I think I served them 2 bottles of beer.
You don't happen to remember what you did with those 2 bottles, do you, ma'am? Possible we may be able to lift some prints off of them.
No. The officers asked me that last night. It wouldn't do any good. You see, I was the only one who touched the bottles. We used the regular big mugs, and I poured the beer for them. Neither one of them touched the bottles.
Now, how about the man who escaped, Miss Reiner? You remember him pretty well, do you? What he looked like?
Oh, yes. Yes, he's the one who did all the talking. He's the same one who hit my husband, too.
What did he look like, ma'am? How old would you say he was?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd say he was in his late 30s, yes.
How tall, ma'am?
Well, my husband's 5'9", and I'd say the man was 2 inches taller than him. He's huskier, too. I'd guess about 175 or 80 pounds, a very strong-looking man.
Do you remember what he was wearing, Miss Reiner?
It was a tan sports coat, I think, and green slacks, light green, and a dark brown hat.
Did you notice anything unusual about him?
I beg your pardon?
Anything outstanding about him? Anything that was different? Say a scar, a mole, tattoos, anything like that?
No, not that I could notice.
What was the first thing this man said to you and your husband, ma'am?
Well, he said it to all 3 of us, me and my husband and the bartender. That's George O'Leary. He's been with us for years. He's a good bartender. He'd only stay sober.
Yes, ma'am. What was the first thing the hold-up man said?
Well, he's the same one that hit my husband, you know. He said in a real loud voice, he said, "This is a stick-up. Get your hands up high and keep them there."
Well, what happened then, ma'am?
We put our hands up for George. That's the bartender, you know. Scared him so bad he dropped a full bottle of bourbon. Bonded, too. Broke all over the floor. George isn't well. That's why he drinks.
Well, what did the hold-up men do after they had you raise your hands?
Well, that one that hit my husband, he told the other man to go behind the bar and get the money. It was all spread out on the bar. William and I was just checking the register when it happened.
Let's see. Would you go on, please?
Well, after they got the register money, they put it in our bank bag. And then they went through my purse and through my husband's wallet and through George's wallet, too. They took George's last $1.50. Got $805 in all cash. I guess you knew that.
Yes, ma'am. What happened after that?
Jenny, where are you?
Oh, will you excuse me, officers? My husband.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I'll just see what he wants. I think he'll be able to talk to you now.
All right, ma'am. Frank, do you remember to bring that mug book?
Yes, it's out in the car.
That's good. We can leave it here with the Reiners. Pick it up later tonight.
Okay, you want me to get it now?
No, let's wait and see how he is, huh?
Officers, would you like to come back here? Officers?
Yes, ma'am, we're coming.
Jenny, would you pull up chairs for the officers?
Oh, why, surely. Officers, this is my husband, Will.
How do you do, sir?
Here you are, Sergeant.
Thank you very much.
You catch the other man yet, the one who hit me?
No, sir, not yet. That's why we're out here. We know that you don't feel too well, Mr. Reiner. We'll try to keep it short.
No, I sure don't. I guess Jen told you. My head's killing me. Poor girl. I kept her up most of the night, I guess. Sure, fine nurse, Jen. She didn't get any rest at all.
Yes, sir. Well, she was just telling us about the holdup last night, sir, how it happened.
I was telling them how they got the money, Will. I didn't explain about your ring, though. Do you want to tell them?
It was the worst part of the whole thing. I'd rather have lost anything but that ring.
How's that, sir? Some kind of a keepsake?
It belonged to my dad. Diamond Signet. Stone wasn't perfect, but money sure can't replace it.
Yes, sir.
I remember when Dad gave it to me. It was just a couple of days before he died. It was his ring. Been the family way back.
Which one of the holdup men took the ring, Mr. Ryan?
The same one hit me. One got away. After they took all our money, he came over to me and said, "Give me the ring. Hand it over." I told him I couldn't get it off my finger.
What did you do then, sir?
Slapped my face. Said if I couldn't get the ring off, he could. Said if he had to, he'd cut it off. I pleaded with him. I told him what it meant to me. It didn't do any good.
I see.
When I didn't give him the ring right away, he brought that gun down right on top of my head. Hit me as hard as he could. I don't remember too well after that.
You think you'd recognize the man if you ever saw him again, Mr. Reiner?
No, I'll never forget him. I sure hope to find the ring, officer. Jen and I have been through some tough times together. I guess at one time or other we've either sold or pawned everything we owned. But we never let go of that ring. Never did. Not until last night. Isn't that right, Jen?
Yes, that's right, Will.
Well, we'll do all we can to get it back for you, Mr. Reiner. Now, about this man who got away, can you remember anything outstanding about him at all? Anything unusual?
No, I don't think so. He had mean-looking eyes. I remember that much.
Yes, sir.
Kind of the smart-aleck type, I guess. Kept twirling his gun around his hand, on his finger, you know. I was scared to death it was going to go off. So was George. He's our bartender. Real scared, wasn't he, Jen?
Oh, yes. George was white as a sheet.
How do you mean, Mr. Reiner, he twirled the gun around?
Oh, you know, like in the movies, cowboy pictures. Typical smart-aleck. He sure did run when the cops came, though. Only wish he was the one who got shot.
Well, you're sure you'll be able to identify this man if you see him again?
I told you I'll never forget him. Say, there's something about this I don't think I understand.
Yeah?
Why you ask me all these questions about it? How about the fellow who was with that crook? Fellow they shot. Why don't you talk to him? He ought to be able to tell you who his partner is.
Well, he had an emergency operation, sir, at 6 o'clock this morning. His condition's still critical.
Oh, I see. Just a matter of time then, huh? I mean, when he recovers, you'll be able to talk to him. You'll find out what you want to.
Well, there's only one hit, sir. Whether he recovers or he doesn't recover.
Yes?
Either way, we can't depend on him. 11:38 a.m. After we finished interviewing the holdup victims, Frank got the mug book out of the car containing pictures of recent robbery releases from the state prisons, and we left it with Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. We instructed them that if they succeeded in identifying any one of the pictures, to take down his name and prison number and call our office immediately. We told them we'd be back later that afternoon. 11:50 a.m. We left the Reiner home and drove down to the scene of the robbery, the restaurant on South Hill. When we got there, Officer Walmsley from Latent Fingerprints was just leaving. He told us that he'd been unable to raise any legible prints at the back window where the number 2 suspect had escaped. Frank and I checked over the scene, and then we headed back for the office. There were half a dozen messages for us in the book. One of them was to call State Parole Officer Fred Galloway at his office on South Broadway. Frank put in the call, and Galloway said he'd be right down. He thought he had something for us. 1:05 p.m. Galloway met us in the squad room and briefed us on some of the information that he'd received earlier that morning from one of his parolees. It concerned the wife of a former holdup man who now was wanted by Galloway for violation of parole. He told us the wife had rented a car from a U-Drive lot in Santa Monica and that supposedly the ex-con and his wife were planning to leave the city.
What's the tie, Fred? How's it figure in for us?
I was talking to Chandler this morning. He happened to mention the holdup you're working. This fellow answers the description of the one who got away.
What was that name again, the ex-con?
Ernest Morgan. Your L.A. number 178435. Folsom number is 12968. Reason I got pepped on is the thief could have hurt his leg jumping out of the back window of the bar. You figure he could have?
Yeah, easily. It's a good 35-foot drop. Why, Fred?
Well, my informant says that Ernie Morgan has a bump foot. Hurt it so bad he can hardly walk on it. Says he saw Morgan day before yesterday. His leg was all right then.
Sounds like a good one to get off the street, huh? What do you say we check his package?
Good idea. Your informant say who this Morgan's been running with, Fred?
He said he didn't know. He thinks he plays it alone, more or less.
Go ahead, Fred. You contact the U-Drive lot, Fred, and get the dope on the car?
Yeah. Didn't want to put the teletype out until I was sure. One of the fellows from our office had to make a call out that way. They're taking a mugshot of Morgan's wife out there to see if the U-Drive clerk can give him an ident on her.
She got a record?
Well, she's never done any time. She's did a couple of pinches with him. Never could make her on anything, though.
I'll pull the package.
All right, fine, Fred.
How about your victims, Joe? They any good?
Yeah, they claim they can identify the man. I don't think we'll have any trouble there. How about this informant of yours? You know where we can locate the Morgans?
No, not now. According to him, Morgan and his wife left town about 9 this morning. He thinks he might get a line of where they're headed, though.
Well, how come your informant knows so much about Morgan? He run with him?
No, he sold with him up at the joint.
Fred, Joe, you want to have a look?
Yeah.
Here's the package, his mugshot. Is this your Ernie Morgan, Fred?
Yeah, that's him.
Good picture?
Yeah, looks just like it.
The description, Joe. Got everything right down the line.
Yeah.
Check this right here. Habits and characteristics.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it?
What's that?
He likes to twirl a gun in his hand. 1:52 p.m. We placed Ernest Morgan's picture in an envelope along with 24 other mug shots, and then we put in a call to Mr. and Mrs. Reiner, told them we were coming out to see them. They told us that so far neither one of them had been able to identify any of the pictures in the mug book that we'd left with them. Fred Galloway went back to his office, and we told him we'd notify him the minute we got a positive identification. 2:25 p.m. We drove back to the Reiner home. The old man was still in bed.
Been all the way through this book of yours, officer. Couldn't find one who looked like the man, could we, Jen?
No, his picture's not in there, Sergeant. We're sure of that.
I see. Well, we've got some more of them here, folks. I'd like to have you look through them if you don't mind. See if you can identify one of them.
Yes, all right. Jen, would you fix this pillow back here for me, please?
Oh, yes, of course, dear. There you are.
Thank you.
You see any picture in the book that resembled the man at all, sir?
No, I didn't. None of them. Wasn't one who looked like him.
Well, here you are. See if any of these pictures look familiar to you.
Thank you, sir. Jen, you want to sit here by me? We can see them together.
All right, Will. Let's see now. Oh, my, look at this one, Will. Doesn't he look like a mean one?
Yes, look at this one, Jen. Look at him. Think he's a college graduate, wouldn't you?
Oh, my, yeah. Officer, this young man here, what did he do?
Let me see that, ma'am. Oh, yeah, it's Marty Lee, hold up and murder, Miss Reiner. Shot and killed an elderly lady. She ran a candy store.
Oh, my, can you feature that? Such a clean-looking boy. Never believe, would you, Will?
Takes all kinds, I guess. Let's see now. No.
Let me see, Will. Oh, no, that's not him.
No, we've been through these already. Have you some more, officer?
No, that's all, Mr. Reiner. You sure the hold-up man's picture isn't in there?
No, sir. I looked at him all pretty carefully. I didn't see him. Did you, Jen?
No, I didn't see him. Was his picture supposed to be in here?
Well, we thought so, ma'am. Let's see. Here, how about this one? Does he look familiar to you?
Jen?
No, I don't know. Maybe not. We serve so many people every night.
Are you folks sure you'll recognize the hold-up man when you see him?
Oh, yes.
Of course, yes.
Well, just one more question here, Mr. Reiner.
Yes?
Now, are you absolutely sure this is not the man who held you up and slugged you last night?
Yes, I'm sure. That's not the man.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Because of Fatima quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Switch to king-size Fatimas yourself.
You'll find they're distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma.
You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Yes, that's why Fatima continues to grow in favor among king-size cigarette smokers everywhere.
Remember, The name stands for quality.
Insist on mild and soothing king-size cigarette with the added protection of Fatima quality. Ask your dealer for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Monday, June 2nd, 2:45 p.m. After the victims, Mr. and Mrs. Reiner, failed to identify Ernest Morgan as the robbery suspect, Frank and I got in the car and drove back to the office. Neither one of us had anything to say. Just at the moment we figured that we had the suspect positively identified, the victims themselves had contradicted what we thought was definitely the answer to the case. It wasn't by any means a news story. One of the first lessons a working detective learns is to keep an open mind, regardless of how incriminating the circumstances first appear to be. The big fallacy of a detective being too sure too soon is based, for the most part, on the failure to recognize that police work means human beings dealing with human beings. So instead of going by the usual odds, the human margin for error is double. Frank and I didn't have too clear an idea of how or why it came about, but suddenly we found ourselves farther away from the solution of the case than before we started. 3:10 p.m.
Lousy day, huh?
Yeah, sure.
10 after 3, feel like I haven't slept for 2 days.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Pretty hard to figure, isn't it?
Sure hope the wife did the washing today.
Why?
She won't feel much like talking. I sure don't.
Well, let's check the book, huh?
Yeah, I'll do it. A couple of phone calls, Joe. One from the hospital, prison ward.
What do they want?
Our number one suspect, Ashford, he's doing better than they figured. Be available for interview tomorrow morning.
Lucky thief, huh? Was a copy, would have died.
Another message. It's from Galloway. Wants us to call him. It's still the Madison number?
Yeah. You want the pad?
Oh, yeah, please.
There you go.
Adult parole, please, men. Thank you. Fred Galloway, please. Smith, robbery, LAPD. Thanks. Hi, Fred. Frank Smith. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. You sure about that? Uh-huh. Sure doesn't figure. No, I didn't mean a thing to him, yeah. Okay. Right. Thanks, Fred. It's got me, Joe.
Why, what's the matter?
Galloway got the report back from that U-Drive lot, place where Morgan's wife rented that car.
Mm-hmm.
They identified her as the woman who rented that car. She offered him a deal. She didn't want to leave a cash deposit for the car.
Well, what'd she offer?
Man's ring, diamond signet.
After we got the word from State Parole Officer Fred Galloway, we got out a broadcast and an APB, in addition to those we already had out. We requested that the rented car and the occupants be held for questioning in connection with the robbery of Reiner's Cafe the night before. If a man's diamond signet ring was found in possession of the occupants or in the car, it was to be booked as evidence. The following morning, Frank and I interviewed our number one suspect, Benny Ashford, in Ward 13,400 at General Hospital Prison Ward. Because he had the idea his partner had run out on him and taken the money with him, that he'd let him down, Ashford was in a fairly cooperative mood. After talking with him for a little more than 20 minutes, he named Ernest Morgan and identified his mugshot as his companion in the robbery of Reiner's Cafe. He also told us the holdup was Morgan's idea, and that Morgan had told him the job would be a pushover. We asked him where he thought we might locate Morgan, and he told us our best bet was Las Vegas, Nevada. Supposedly, Morgan had a good friend in Las Vegas, an ex-con by the name of Harry Breen. Frank and I went back to the office where we met with Inspector Farnan and Captain Didion. At 1:30 that afternoon, according to instructions, Frank and I signed out a trip car and headed out U.S. Highway 91 for Las Vegas. We checked in at the Las Vegas Police Department a few minutes before 8:30 that night. The alleged friend of the suspect, Morgan, Harry Breen, had already been taken into custody by Las Vegas officers on the request of Captain Didion. We began questioning Breen, and he readily admitted that he was acquainted with Morgan.
All right, how long ago did you see Morgan?
I don't know, this afternoon sometime.
About hours in an afternoon. When did you see him?
What are you so excited about? What did he do, commit a murder?
Well, look, Breen, how much time do you owe the state?
What's that got to do with it?
We didn't drive all the way up here just to pass the time of day with you. You know he's hot. If you want to cover for him, you can serve his time.
Look, I don't get it. I'm not his keeper. If you want him, find him.
I bet we're going to find him if we have to walk all over you to do it. When the two of you are up doing time, you can figure it out for yourselves.
The trouble with you cops, once a guy does time, you can't leave him alone. I've been leveling since I got out. I've been carrying a lunch pail every day.
All right, now look, Breen, who do you think you're giving a snow job? We've been kidded by experts. You're not giving us anything new. We didn't send Morgan up to see you. If you're so lily-white, how come Morgan got in touch with you? All right, I'll tell you. You're as bad right now as the day they locked the gate on you. You're never sorry for what you've done. You just moan because they caught you. Save that act for the jury, Breen. We're not going to buy it. Now, what about it? Where is he?
Wait a minute, huh? What are you so sore at me for? I didn't rob anybody.
Who said you did? You must have been talking to Morgan.
All right, I have. I told you I talked to him. He came around this afternoon. Now, get off my back.
What do you want?
He's hot. He wanted to cool off.
Where's he now?
I don't know. Well, look, how should I know? He came around with his wife, asked for a favor. I couldn't do it. I just got married. My wife's a square. I told her about it. She wouldn't go for it. The guy's a big crybaby anyway, trying to tell me how we ought to stick together. He's never done a favor for me.
You see the car he was driving, Breen?
Yeah, convertible coupe Packard. California plates.
How'd you notice? You got the license number?
No, he asked me where he could get some cold plates. I figured it was hot.
You get him any plates?
Look, I wouldn't know where to get them. I already told you. I've been leveling ever since I got out. There's no use kidding. I couldn't do any more time. I'm too old. One more trip and I'm through. I'm really through. I got a good wife. She works every day. I don't want to lose that.
All right, Breen. You take your choice.
What do you mean?
Who do you like the best, Morgan or your wife? What about it?
All right, you got it.
The suspect's friend, Harry Breen, went on to admit that during the conversations he'd had with Ernest Morgan that afternoon, Morgan had told him that he and his wife were going to San Francisco. There, supposedly, they would contact a man by the name of Baker Harrison, who operated a restaurant out by Hunter's Point. He said the Morgans had told him that they planned on driving at night only to lessen the chances of the police spotting their car. We immediately got in touch with Inspector George Haig of the San Francisco Police Department and notified him of the latest developments in the case. He told us he'd read our teletypes and said that he'd placed the restaurant operated by Baker Harrison under immediate surveillance. We told him we'd leave early the next morning for San Francisco after we'd gotten a few hours' sleep. Before we turned in, we got off a teletype to Captain Didion, bringing him up to date on what had happened and what our plans were. The next morning at 6:30, Frank and I left Las Vegas for San Francisco. A few minutes after 7 o'clock that night, we checked in at the San Francisco Hall of Justice at Washington and Kearny Streets. Inspector Haig was waiting for us. He informed us Harrison's restaurant out at Hunter's Point was still being covered, but so far, Morgan and his wife had failed to put in an appearance. Along with Inspector Haig, Frank and I drove out to the restaurant and joined the detail that had the place under surveillance. 9:05 p.m., no sign of the suspects. 10 p.m., 10:30, 11 o'clock, midnight, still no sign. We waited.
How about this fog, huh? Sure wish I brought my top coat. I'm freezing.
Yeah, if they don't show pretty soon, we're going to have to pull in closer. I can hardly see the door to the restaurant over there.
Smell that hot coffee. Sure could use a cup right now.
Look at that fog out there, Frank. Can't tell where the bay leaves off and the fog begins.
Wait a minute, Joe.
Yeah?
Car pulling up. Convertible.
Yeah. Packard. Wait till they get in the light. We can see him better.
A man getting out, heading for the restaurant.
Yeah, it looks like him. Come on.
Yeah.
Somebody else in the car. A woman.
Haig's got it covered. George is with him.
All right, let's hustle it. Come on.
Passing under the light. It's him, Joe.
Yeah. All right, hold it. Right where you are, police officers.
What's the matter? What do you want?
All right, hands up in front of you. Get him up high.
All right, I got him up. What's it all about? What's the trouble?
Frank, you want to shake him?
Yeah.
Come on, keep those hands up and stand still.
I'm standing still. Is this a shakedown or what? I haven't done anything.
Nothing doing, Joe. Clean.
Those hands are. Your right hand, mister. Let's have a look at it.
All right. Still don't get this. There, what about it?
Ring on your finger. Where'd you get that?
It's mine. Why? I had it a long time.
Diamond Signet, a little big for you, isn't it? Doesn't quite fit.
What are you getting at? What's my ring got to do with it?
Where'd you get it?
Crap game. I won it in the crap games down in Las Vegas. I won it gambling.
Is that right?
Yeah, a bunch of guys up in the hotel room shooting a little crap. Just a gamble I won.
Sure of that, are you?
Of course I'm sure. Just a crap game. I took a gamble I won.
No, you're half right, mister.
Yeah?
You gambled, but you didn't win.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 8th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, because you know what you're looking for in a king-size cigarette, all we ask you to do is compare Fatimas and then make up your own mind. You'll find Fatimas are distinctive, with a truly different flavor and aroma. You get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Smoke king-size Fatima. I'm convinced you'll agree that the difference is quality.
Ernest Harold Morgan was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, along with his accomplice, Benjamin Ashford. Ernest Morgan's wife was tried for conspiracy to commit robbery and found not guilty. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary from 5 years to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you buy defense bonds, you help build your own future security. You also become a partner with Uncle Sam in building America's security. Buy your bond today.
just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Harry Bartell, Ralph Moody. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.